Natalie. Sergeant at Arms, please call our October 15, 2024 council meeting to order. I would like to recognize our chaplain of the day, Dr. Lee Ramsey. Dr. Ramsey is an ordained United Methodist minister and recently retired from 25 years of teaching at the Memphis Theological Seminary as the Marlon Sheila Foster Professor in Pastoral Care and Preaching. He is the author of The Preachers and Misfits, Prophets and Thieves, The Minister in the Southern Fiction, and Careful Preaching from Sermon to Caring Community Leader. Lee is married to Mary Dawson Ramsey and has 2 adult children, and those on their 2 grandchildren, Isaac and Natalie. They are residents of Midtown Memphis and active members of St. John's United Methodist Church. Dr. Ramsey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Thank you for the invitation, and citizens of Memphis. Let us pray. God of life, creator of all, we give you thanks for this day. We especially thank you for the opportunities and responsibilities that this day affords to serve the common good, to seek the welfare of the city of Memphis, to serve all of its citizens across all its districts rightly and well. You know, O Lord, that governance of the human and natural community is complex, difficult, and demanding. We are often stubborn people bent by our own narrow desires. In our rush to control and defend our own particular interest, to increase our own power, we can lose sight of the very people, the community as a whole that you have called us to serve in this season. But you set before us, O God, a vision of wholeness, of well-being for all, from Orange Mound to Midtown, from Fraser to downtown. Deep within our imaginations, we can see the city as you see it, a thriving community based upon love and justice, equality and freedom. A city not defeated by its scarred past, but made stronger in the broken places. A city inspired by our rich cultural roots to nurture creativity and productivity in business, the arts, in education and medicine, in hospitality, religion and economics, in transportation and safety, in public health and recreation, in law and human resources, and yes, in leadership and politics, our very work of this hour. So grant us, O life-giving God, wisdom and prudence that we might govern well for the benefit of all. Bestow upon us patience with one another as we agree and disagree. Enable us to set aside the thorny things that block agreement and to reach for the greater things that clear the path of wholeness. As we counsel together, hold before us your vision of the common good of Memphis and all its citizens. Anoint with us a generous portion of discernment as we often face the hard, practical, and detailed decisions between what is good and what is best. And so use us in this hour as you have used us and our predecessors in the past to shape present policies and economic decisions that will lift the hopes and support the livelihoods of every neighborhood, every child, youth, and adult who we serve. This we ask in your holy name and in the name of all that is true and good. And together we pray, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Warren, you are recognized when you reach the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say that during the COVID pandemic, when My family members came down with COVID. I was sitting in Starbucks with no place to go, talking to my good friend who walks in the door, and next thing I know, I'm in his guest house for a week. So not only does he, 2 weeks, but thank you, 2 weeks painful guest house sitting, but I just want to say thank you again for that. Reverend, appreciate you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Hold up, photo. Madam Comptroller, you know what to do.
Chairman. Council members Canali, Carlisle, Cooper Sutton, Easter Thomas, Ford, Green, Logan, Spinoza, Swearingen Washington, Walker, Warren, White, Chairman Smiley. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Absolutely. I believe the Vice Chairman has read the minutes for our October 1st meeting. Vice Chairman Canali, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hold up your mic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have reviewed the minutes from the October 1st meeting, find them to be in order, and move for their adoption.
Moved by Canali. Seconded by Councilmember Warren. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen? Council members, cast your votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Walker, yes. Warren, yes. White, yes. Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Welcome to the October 15, 2024 regular meeting of the Memphis City Council. Meetings of the council shall be conducted in an orderly manner to ensure the public has the full opportunity to be heard, and the deliberate process of this council is retained at all times. The Sergeant at Arms, Cedric, Mr. Young, raise your hand, Chief Young, has meeting agendas available up front, as well as comment request cards for members of the public wishing to be heard on a specific item. All those wishing to speak on an item must turn in their comment card to the Sergeant at Arms before the item is called. If you are not here to speak on a specific item, you can note your request to give general comment at the end of the meeting. As chair, I will only recognize the citizens that properly registered to speak by submitting a completed comment request card to the Sergeant at Arms before the item is called. Members of the audience and persons addressing the council will not be permitted to engage in gossip, make defamatory, personal, slanderous, or profane comments, or use abusive or vulgar language. The chairperson of the council may maintain order by giving any persons who are in violation of the stated rules of decorum a warning to cease any violative conduct in order to leave the council chambers, or by giving an order for security personnel to remove any disruptive person in the council's chambers who refuses to leave voluntarily. These rules are posted on the doors as you enter the chamber and as you pick up the comment cards. Item number 25 will be held until December 17, 2024. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 1.
Item number 1 is a resolution recognizing October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington.
Councilwoman Swearingen, there you go. I was looking to my left. Councilwoman Swearingen Washington, you recognize.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. Whereas, in deserving circumstances, the Memphis City Council finds it appropriate to honor and recognize organizations, initiatives, and individuals that contribute significantly to the welfare of our community, and is essential to bring attention to the critical issue of domestic violence that affects millions across our nation. And whereas October is recognized nationwide as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, providing an opportunity to raise awareness, educate, and public, and offer support to survivors of domestic violence, which includes physical, emotional, psychological, and financial abuse, impacting individuals across all demographics. And whereas domestic violence affects people of all races, genders, ages, socioeconomic backgrounds, with 1 in 4 and 1 in 9 men, 1 in 4 women, 1 in 9 men in the United States experiencing severe intimate partner violence in their lifetime. Whereas domestic violence not only threatens the safety and well-being of individuals, but also has long-term effects on families, children, and communities, perpetuating cycles of violence that are difficult to break without effective intervention and community support. Whereas during the month of October, committees across Memphis and the nation come together to support survivors, spread awareness, and promote resources to prevent future violence within the ultimate goal of creating a society where every individual can live free from fear and harm. Whereas the Memphis City Council acknowledges the importance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month as a time to reflect on the work that still needs to be done and to honor those affected by this issue, recognizing the effects of all who work to make Memphis a safer and more supportive community for survivors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Memphis City Council hereby recognizes October 2024 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the city of Memphis and encourages all citizens to take action to support survivors and contribute to ending domestic violence in our community, given by my hand under the Great Seal of the City of Memphis on this 15th day of October 2024, Janice Swearingen, Washington, Memphis City Council, District 4. I am honored to have Makita Odom, Gwen Turner, and Chanel Lynch, and they are representing the YWCA. And we thank you for your work that you're doing with survivors and within our community. God bless you, and may we continue this fight until all men and women are safe. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Madam Comptroller, can we show this item passed by acclamation?
And I so move.
Moved by Councilman Swearingen, Washington, passed by acclamation. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 2?
Item number 2 is a resolution honoring Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
Councilwoman Cooper Sutton, you're recognized as soon as you make it to the podium. Take your time.
Yes, I got the text. Hello, ladies. I think this one is it. All right. Memphis City Council Resolution. Whereas breast cancer is one of the most common cancers affecting women worldwide, posing significant challenges to public health and leading to personal and societal burdens. And whereas the annual observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month every October provides a crucial opportunity to increase awareness, promote education, and encourage early detection and treatment of breast cancer, and to serve to honor and support those who have been affected by breast cancer, including survivors, those currently battling the disease, and the family and friends who provide unwavering support during these challenging times. And whereas the dedication and tireless effort of the Baptist Memorial Healthcare medical professionals, researchers, and support staff have led to an advancement in the early detection, treatment, providing resources, and raising funds to support breast cancer research, patient services, and hope for a future cure. And whereas numerous organizations, including the American Cancer Society, Susan G. Komen, For the Cure, excuse me, I'm so sorry. My mother was diagnosed. And various local health departments play pivotal roles in organizing activities, providing resources, and raising funds to support breast cancer research. Whereas Baptist Memorial Healthcare acknowledged the importance of supporting and participating in Breast Cancer Awareness Month activities, including community outreach, educational programs, and fundraising events to foster a supportive environment for those affected by breast cancer and to promote public health. And whereas it is imperative that we continue to address disparities in breast cancer diagnosis and treatments, particularly among minority and underserved populations, to ensure equality in healthcare access and outcomes for all individuals. And whereas the city of Memphis recognizes the resilience, the strength of breast cancer survivors whose stories of courage and perseverance inspire others and highlight the importance of continued research, awareness, and support. And whereas local businesses, schools, and communities and organizations are encouraged to participate in Breast Cancer Awareness Month by decorating public spaces in pink, as you can see, hosting awareness events, and providing educational materials to further spread the message of hope and prevention. And whereas Baptist Memorial Healthcare is committed to supporting the initiatives that advance breast cancer research, promote early detection, and provide comprehensive care and support service for individuals and families impacted by breast cancer. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Memphis City Council to recognize and proclaim the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Memphis, encouraging all residents to take proactive steps in learning about breast cancer, participating in awareness activities, and supporting those affected by this disease. And be it further resolved that the administration, the healthcare providers, advocacy organizations, community members in Memphis receive the proper acknowledgement and gratitude for their ceaseless efforts to enhance breast cancer awareness, research, and support service, fostering a community dedicated to health and well-being of all its members. And given by my hand and under the great seal of the city of Memphis, this 15th day of October 24th, Councilwoman Yolanda Cooper Sutton, Memphis Council, City Council, Super District 8-3.
Madam Comptroller, please show that approved by acclamation.
And you ladies. Thank you. You ladies go say something.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Sutton, for your beautiful remarks. And, you know, breast cancer is so personal for probably everybody in this room. And we at Baptist Memorial Healthcare are just so blessed and so fortunate to have the opportunity to serve so many patients every year. At our Women's Health Center, we're able to serve up to 40,000 patients a year. Regardless of their ability to pay, we try to remove all roadblocks to seeking care. And so we are just one small part of all of the operations in Memphis that are working together to eradicate breast cancer. So thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
You got another Baptist employee that just walked in. I thought I saw the Reverend Dr. Keith Norman back there. He's back there. Come on. Dr. Norman, you offer remarks, or you fine?
Thank you, Councilwoman Sutton, Cooper Sutton, and then to the council. As a part of the community health needs assessments that we conduct annually, we realize that breast cancer disproportionately impacts especially women of color in this particular area and region. And so we are committed to really putting the funds available to serve our community so that any woman who walks in that door or any man who comes in with an idea or thought that breast cancer is impacting their body, they will get first-class care. And I want to emphasize first-class care. We don't do this as something that we don't look at the dignity of the person just because it's free. So I'm very proud to work with Baptist in this work and our Women's Healthcare Center and all over our hospitals throughout the area. This can happen as far away as Arlington, north of us, even south of us to DeSoto, but we'll cover this entire region, making sure. And then even having our mobile mammography unit to come to where you might be if you needed to come to your church on a Sunday or during the course of the week. So these are things that we're committed to. I'm thankful to work with the fine people who are here, our community outreach department, and thank God for each of you in recognizing us in this month. Let's cure breast cancer.
All right, Madam Comptroller, can we show the previous item passed by acclamation? I think it was moved by Cooper Sutton and supported by the council unanimously. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 4?
Item number 4 is a resolution approving an honorary street name change on Scott Street between Mimosa Avenue and Nathan Avenue for Terry Don Douglas Sr., District 5, Super District 9. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Spinoza, and there is a request for same-night minutes.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Councilman Spinoza, you're recognized when you make it to the podium or whenever you see him fit.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, council members. Before I read this for the record, I just want to restate what we talked about in committee today. Terry Douglas was my friend. I miss him very much, and I'm really just humbled to be able to do this today. So it's great to see family here, and I know his wife is going to want to make some comments here after we read this, but with that, I'll go ahead and read this for the record. Whereas the Memphis City Council recognizes and has seen fit to name certain public roads to honor the invaluable contributions of citizens who have dedicated themselves to serving and enriching our community. And whereas on a spring Memphis morning, April 23rd, 1945, Terry Don Douglas Sr., my friend, was brought into the world, a son of the Bluff City, Destined to become a pillar in the community that he loved, a man whose hands and heart would shape not only the upholstery of boats and homes, but also the very fabric of Binghamton itself. Whereas a proud graduate of Leicester High School, Terry stood tall on the football field as a standout, but it was his love of the craft that led him to start his own upholstery business at the tender age of 29. In an era when the dreams of Black men often seemed deferred, Terry's dream wasn't just a dream, it became a reality and a beacon of hope for others to follow. Whereas Douglas Upholstery, founded in 1974, is one of the oldest Black-owned businesses in Binghamton. It stood not just as a shop, but as a sanctuary, a place where men without work found dignity in the craftsmanship Terry so lovingly taught. He became a teacher, a mentor, a father figure, extending opportunities where there were once none, and he made the community better, not through just his words, but through his action, through hard work, and through love of his people. Terry's meticulous skill, his attention to detail became legendary, not just in Memphis, but in homes and businesses all across the country. He worked with top designers, but always stayed grounded, humble, and fiercely dedicated to his craft. His upholstery work was more than a job, it was an art, with places that would last a lifetime, reflecting through endurance and resilience that he carried within himself. Terry was a man of few words. We spoke a lot, but he was a man of few words. But when Terry spoke, those around him certainly listened, whether gathered at cookouts in the neighborhood, engaging with the youth, or offering work to those who needed it most. His presence was felt, his wisdom sought. He was a man deeply rooted in faith, an anchor to his family and friends, and an example to all who knew him. Quiet, strength, humility, and faithfulness, and what they look like in action. Whereas he lived with love, always protecting and providing for those he cared for, Terry was a devoted member of Rock of Ages CME, a congregation located just blocks away from his shop on Scott Street, where he worshiped and served, growing even more in his strong faith. And just weeks before his retirement celebration and the 50th anniversary of Douglas Upholstery, Terry Don Douglas Sr. was called home to glory, a servant's job well done. Whereas he leaves behind his loving wife, Alfreda, in a family that spans generations. A lot of them are here. There's more coming this weekend. Sons, grandsons, granddaughters, great-grandchildren, brothers, sisters, and more, each one carrying the legacy of Terry Don Douglas Sr., a man whose hands were never idle, whose heart was never closed, and whose love was never in short supply. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Memphis City Council, designate Scott Street between Mimosa Avenue and Nathan Avenue be declared Terry Don Douglas Sr. Street, and stand in deep admiration for the life of Terry Don Douglas Sr. and honor the extraordinary impact he's made on the city of Memphis, on his community in Binghamton, and on every soul fortunate enough to have crossed his path. With that, the city engineer is hereby requested to affix suitable signs designating the public road in recognition of that legacy that Terry Don Douglas Sr. has left behind. The business he built, the family he nurtured, the community he uplifted will live on as a testimony to the power of his perseverance, the beauty of his craftsmanship, and the boundless potential that one man determined to make a difference can make. His work, like his spirit, is woven into the fabric of Memphis, and for that we are eternally grateful. Adopted today, Tuesday, October the 15th, 2024, Philip Spinoza, District 5. Alfreda, I know you want to make some comments. Yeah. Here you go. Yeah, I'll make the motion to move this, please. Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Chair.
Good evening. We, the family of Terry Douglas, would like to thank you all for all you have done in behalf of Terry. Thank God for you all, and thank you all so much. May the Lord continue to bless you all with kind and giving hearts. Especially thanks to Councilman Spinoza. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
He's a pretty good guy. I would like to know who these people are with. while they are finishing up, I would like to take a moment. One, this is the point in our council meeting where we're no longer going to clap. If you like what's being said, you're going to do a thumbs up. If you dislike what's being said, we're going to do a thumbs down. If you started clapping, yelling, this good-looking gentleman here named Chief Young is going to walk next to you, and he's going to ask you to leave. And if you don't leave, him and the security personnel will escort you out. Now, with that being said, this is a very important time in our country. I'd like to remind you all that since you're here exercising your civic duty, I want you to go vote. Early voting starts tomorrow, so let's go vote. All right, now that's out the way. Some housekeeping. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 5.
Item number 5 is a resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code, approving a plan development amendment at the subject property located at 3086 Cossia Street. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. The case number is PD 24-05.
Vice Chairman Canali, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colleagues, this was heard briefly in committee. However, I would like to have DPD do a presentation. And then based upon the number of cards we have, I'm going to allot 20 minutes for each side to speak on the matter. If you don't use all of your time at the beginning, you can save it for rebuttal afterwards. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I move it to the floor. Looks like it's been seconded. DPD, you may go ahead.
Good afternoon. Nicholas Wardrop with the Division of Planning and Development. This is the request to expand the existing Class 3 landfill at 3086 Kasha Street in Fraser. So here you can see a location map of where we're talking about, indicated by the pink circle. And again, I said this in committee, but we're talking about what the state calls a Class 3 landfill, which is generally construction and demolition debris. So you can see on this sign here what they accept and what we're talking about with this application. Here's a brief history of the zoning history of the site. The major thing to note is that council did approve the opening of the existing landfill in June of 2007. A very similar application to expand was applied for and rejected in January of 2018. Here's an aerial of the site. So parcel 1, indicated by the 1, is already operating as a landfill. Their request is to expand it to parcel 2. And you can see indicated here as well, the nearby Whitney Elementary School. Here's a surrounding land use map. So you can see predominantly the yellow is single family residential, but also blue is institutional, so Whitney Elementary School, and red commercial, as well as purple industrial uses in the vicinity. Here are some photos around the extremities of the site. You can see it's predominantly vacant, although on the very north extreme, there is a single family residence. So here is their concept plan. As you can see, they are proposing 2 commercial out parcels, although our recommended conditions would get rid of this one at the south end, so really just 1 commercial out parcel to the north, but predominantly the requested landfill. Here's a graphic showing the proposed final fill. It would be about 90 feet above Whitney Avenue at the very top. So I want to very briefly explain we are recommending rejection on this item. I want to very briefly explain why that is the case. The first reason is that we find that this request is incompatible with the surrounding zoning designations. What do I mean by that? So this is an industrial use, what is requested, right? And you can see there are some industrial zoning classifications in the vicinity. You see IH over here to the west, EMP, which is our light industrial district, immediately to the south. However, predominantly you see residential zoning districts indicated by anything that starts with an R, and commercial, the CMU districts as well. So we find that allowing this would be incompatible with those surrounding zoning designations. Additionally, we find this request to be inconsistent with the Memphis 3.0 comprehensive plan, and I want to discuss briefly how we came to that conclusion. So if you're familiar with Memphis 3.0, you know that its core strategy is focusing on anchors, focusing on these places in our community where people have said throughout the 3.0 process they want us to focus on, right? And then once we identified these anchors, they were further identified to be either sustain, nurture, or accelerate, right? And accelerate being, people said they want us to do what we can to bring investment, public and private, to this area. Well, folks, during that process, identified the nearby Northgate Center shopping center not only as an anchor, but as an accelerate anchor. We also asked people, what you want to see future land use wise. Well, they told us, through the planning process, that they want to see this down here primarily detached single-family residences, but also attached single-family duplexes, missing middle housing, right? Additionally, each district in Memphis 3.0 has a list of stated priorities, explicit stated priorities. Well, promoting pedestrian-oriented infill development at and around Northgate Center is an explicitly identified priority in Memphis 3.0. And we came to the conclusion that we cannot stand up here in front of you and say that we feel confident that approving this application would promote pedestrian-oriented infill development. So in conclusion regarding 3.0, we're concerned that the approval of this application would undermine efforts to achieve Memphis 3.0 by both rendering it impossible on the subject property itself, which is about 28 acres, but also we think it's reasonable to believe that it would make consistent development of the nearby properties less likely as well. And so that is a reason we're recommending rejection. Thirdly and finally, as far as our rationale, we find that to approve this application would be inconsistent with the intent of the UDC and how it intends to regulate this use, right? Construction debris landfills like the one under proposed are permitted by special use permit in the IH and EMP districts as heavy industrial and employment or light industrial. Things that are allowed by right in the IH district include chemical manufacturing, leather tanning, animal slaughter processing, bulk storage of flammable liquids. What does that mean? Even in a district that allows these sorts of things by right, the UDC argues that the use that is requested today may be appropriate, but require individual case-by-case review of the governing bodies. Additionally, I want to call attention to two use standards which apply to all landfills. One is that they may not be within 500 feet of any site used for residential purposes as measured from the property line to the property line. Additionally, they may not be within 500 feet of any school or park as measured from the property line. This application meets that 500 feet as measured from the edge of the fill to the building, right? That is a much shorter distance than property line to property line. And so we're concerned that approval of this application would effectively circumvent the intent of creating these standards for landfills. A few more things in conclusion. I've mentioned the 3.0 concerns. Council at that time rejected a very similar application in 2018. We don't find that there are any changes that have occurred in the vicinity which would undermine the findings that council made in rejecting that item. Third, we want to recognize there's a public benefit to diverting, construction and demolition debris from your sanitary landfill where your household waste goes. That doesn't mean that's an appropriate use at this location. So we just want to point that out. And finally, we recommend a rejection. If approved, we have some modifications to site plan conditions. I don't think they're very substantive. They're mostly just to ease administration. If this is approved, however, I'm happy to go into them if anyone would like. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presentation. For the applicant, Mr. Wardlaw, are you taking the lead on this?
Yes, Councilman Kennelly, excuse me, Lou Wardlaw, 6410 Poplar Avenue, Martin Tate, Morrow, and Marston.
All right. Madam Comptroller, you put 20 minutes on the clock for the applicant. You may begin, Mr. Wardlaw.
Thank you, Councilman. Lou Wardlaw with the law firm of Martin Tate, Morrow, and Marston at 6410 Poplar Avenue, Memphis, Tennessee. I have Steve and Carol Williamson, my clients, here, and have a slide show that is up at the up on the screen. The Williamsons are asking to expand the existing Class 3 construction and demolition landfill that's been in Fraser for several years. Carol Williamson, to my left, is an educator and former school teacher. She's the primary owner of the 90-year-old Memphis Wrecking Company, which has operated the landfill as a planned development since 2009. It's our position that this expansion is not only good business for the city of Memphis and Fraser, but is fully in keeping with the overarching environmental and sustainability concerns that this body cares very much about. As Mr. Wardrop just pointed out, staff has made several comments about it, the landfill expansion. Well, the staff report does recognize the public benefit to the city of Memphis construction and demolition landfills, calling them, and I'll quote, beneficial and necessary uses. Staff's conclusion was not made in a vacuum, but adopts the mission statement of Tennessee's Division of Solid Waste Management, which is, and I'll quote again, to promote, improve, and promote health and environmental quality through the responsive and effective oversight of waste management activities and the beneficial use of recovered materials. So following that state requirement in its bid process for diversion partners like the Williamsons, the city of Memphis publishes its own goal to, quote, maximize the use of Class 3 landfills to achieve state of Tennessee waste diversion goals. And those goals are to divert 25% of appropriate materials out of Class 1 landfills. And that's what the Williamsons do. The Williamsons have current contracts with both the city of Memphis and Memphis Light, Gas, and Water at this facility. They're on their third contract partnering with the city of Memphis in its diversion goals to fight blight, in short. In fact, in the city's contract cover letter addressing the contract with the Williamsons, Division of Solid Waste Director Philip Davis wrote, quote, this is a very important contract to ensure the health and quality of life for our citizens. Solid waste must secure services from vendors with Class 3 landfills to dispose of waste, end quote. We completely agree with that, and that's what has led to the Williamsons' third contract with the city of Memphis as its biggest customer. As this slide 3 shows, this expansion will never accept garbage or any hazardous waste. Mr. Wardrop and the staff report correctly noted that Class 3 landfills are only permitted to dispose of construction and demolition waste. Staff added in their report, quote, the Fraser Recycling Center provides on-site recycling services producing beneficial products like soil amendments, mulch, and construction materials to be used. Next slide, please, Carol. This body has twice approved this landfill, which we ask only to expand for the benefit of Fraser and the city of Memphis as a whole. This woman-owned business is the cleanest and best-run landfill in the greater Memphis area. It is much less intrusive than the one other remaining Class 3 landfill site in the entire Shelby County area. Notably, the site's underground water moves downhill to the southwest away from Whitney Avenue, and that water is heavily tested at least twice a year through 7 on-site groundwater wells, which are independently tested and have never failed a test. Without Fraser Recycling Center, the city of Memphis will have only one partner for the important sustainability goals that this body holds dear. Without Fraser Recycling Center, the city faces a monopoly in this critical public health arena. In short, approval is good planning, good business for Fraser and good for the city of Memphis. Next slide, please, Carol. Mr. Wardrop said that staff's primary concern is Memphis 3.0. Well, this application is fully compliant with the efforts that Memphis 3.0 puts forward. First, the landfill has been peacefully coexisting at the Fraser site for over 15 years. The site is bounded to the north, west, and south by commercial and industrial uses which support the project. This landfill is a healthy part of the Fraser economy. The use was first permitted by the City Council in 2007, and Memphis 3.0 was implemented in 2019. The landfill predates the Memphis 3.0 map by 10 years, and its language cited by Mr. Wardrop that this area should remain single-family housing. It is an obvious error to try and apply that standard to the acreage of the landfill itself. This application, very importantly, addresses staff's desire to promote pedestrian-oriented infill development in Fraser. It may be the only way to get there. Approval of this project ends with the land being donated for public use, all of it, to add walkability, a park, solar farms, anything of that nature in the Fraser area. This ends with that portion of the land being donated to the public and used for the good of the public and the citizens of Fraser. We've submitted a proposed condition locking in that donation. I hope you've gotten it. But there's a condition that we ask be attached to the approval that requires that in the approval itself. Slide 7, please, Carol. So during the existence of the existing landfill, the Williamsons and the city have together fought blight with a facility that, importantly, you cannot see, you cannot smell, and you cannot hear. The staff report confirms that local government entities have nothing negative to say about the expansion, including, as cited in the staff report, engineering, the fire department, the health department, construction code enforcement, parks, and Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. The slide 7 that's up demonstrates the city's involvement with the landfill, with city trucks there, resulting in competitive pricing for the city and better fuel and time efficiency for the city's sustainability efforts. Without this project, you're again at a monopoly, and all of that is put in jeopardy. Next slide, please, Carol. 8, yeah. The Williamsons give priority to hiring Fraser residents on their site. There is widespread support from neighbors to the north, west, and south. In fact, other demolition companies in need of diversion services support the project. Over 100 City of Memphis drivers prefer to use this site and have submitted their support in writing. There is not one identifiable fact about this application that any of it will have any adverse effect on traffic conditions, parking, utility facilities, and other matters affecting the public health, safety, and general welfare of the city. This slide 9 is very important. All of this has been submitted to the Department of Planning and Development. But you don't have to trust the Williamsons. You don't have to trust Lou Wardlaw. You don't have to trust that. Just recognize that this site is extremely heavily regulated by several city and state government bodies. And the Williamsons have never been issued a fine by any of them. Those fines can reach $25,000 per day per fine. They can't go wrong on this. They have to do right on this, or they would be effectively shut down with a $25,000 a day fine for making violations. This slide 10 shows that the Williamsons recycle 60% of all materials that enter this site. Those materials never enter the landfill. They're put back in, as staff talked about, into productive reuse. Slide 11, please, Carol. Thank you. So I said that we've submitted a condition and that this all ends with the 60 acres of land being donated for public use. Well, slide 11 here shows several other reclaimed landfills in the Memphis area. Slide 12, please, Carol. But this site is unique. It may be a park or a solar farm or whatever, back one, please, Carol, to 12. To 12, please, Carol, back one. No, back. Thank you. This site can be used for a solar farm, a park, or whatever this community decides is best for it. In the center is in Richmond, California, a solar farm. Downtown Nashville, ball fields, baseball field in Detroit, all former landfills that have been reclaimed and put to good use, just as we're suggesting would be appropriate under Memphis 3.0 for the city of Memphis and the Fraser area. Slide 13, please, Carol. Oh, yeah. So here's a concept plan showing the whole area that will be donated to the public use at the end of it. It's been said during this process by incredulous people hearing that, well, people don't give away land. Well, they want to give away the land. That's how they want this all to end, with the walkable Fraser that staff has talked about, that Memphis 3.0 talks about, and that Fraser wants and the city needs. You end up with a walkable Fraser, and you have during the time period the lack of a monopoly, and you have a business partner with the city of Memphis to help sustainability and diversion needs. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be available to answer any questions you may have, and I'm gonna turn it over to Carol Williamson, the majority owner, to address the huge economic impacts that approval would bring to the city of Memphis. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Carol Williamson, and since the inception of Fraser Recycling and Landfill, I have been the majority owner. Prior to that, I served as a public, private, and homeschool teacher with a degree in elementary bilingual education, as well as a master's degree in special education. Thank you for your time today and listening to this case. May I direct your attention to the top left column on the screen, personalty and property taxes. In 2024, we generated approximately $16,000 in revenue for the city of Memphis. In 25 and 26, this will increase to $26,000, and after the tax rate increase that was implemented and additional equipment purchases. If you multiply that over 20 years, you can see it raises to $520,000, and over 30 years, $780,000. On the next line down is state and local taxes. In 2024, we generated just under $14,000 with an expected increase to $15,000 in 2025 and $16,000 in 2016. If you extrapolate that out over 30 years, that is $493 of revenue. The next line down shows our full-time jobs that we provide with competitive wages. You can review this on your own, but please notice that we are currently hiring, and we will be adding 5 to 10 new positions with the expansion. We also give first priority to our residents in Fraser when we hire. The next line down is subcontracted mechanics, and depending on the type of mechanic, they range from $65 to $135 per hour. If you go to the next line down, these figures represent our many local vendors. This year, we spent over $500,000 supporting local vendors that work at the site. With the extra work required, and when the expansion is approved, this amount will increase as shown, resulting in over $23 million supporting the local Memphis vendors, many of which are small business owners just like us. The next line down is Shelby County and state permits we are required to obtain. Currently, we pay $10,000 per year and expect it to rise to $11,000 per year. Over 30 years, that's $330,000. The next line down is equipment purchases that we plan on making. This year, we are not able to make any. However, we do plan on replacing at least 2 aging machines each year to keep up with the current emission standards and our recycling operations. I'd like to draw your attention to the very last cell on the lower right. You will see the total conservative figure of the economic impact is nearly $40 million. That's $40 million back into the Memphis economy. And I'm happy to announce that we were recently awarded a contract with MLGW and a 5-year contract with the city of Memphis to provide them with Class 3 waste disposal and diversion. I really appreciate your time, and I respectfully ask each one of you to vote yes on this very important project. Thank you.
Madam Comptroller.
You can reserve.
Are y'all reserving the rest of the time for rebuttal?
Yes, we'd like to reserve the balance of the time for rebuttal.
5 minutes, 36 seconds.
Thank you, Mr.
Council members, do you all want to get your questions out now, or do you want to wait to hear from both sides?
Wait.
All right, Councilman Canella, the floor is yours.
All right, for the opposition, it's hard for me to know who's speaking in favor and who's opposed. So I'm going to call names. If you are speaking in favor of it, if you would wait. If you're speaking in opposition to it, when I call your name, please come forward. Sylvia Martinez.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to split my time, so I have a statement from
Ms. Martinez, hold on one second,
sorry.
please. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. We put 20 minutes on the clock. Yeah, so if you are speaking in opposition, if you just start to make your way down, I'm going to go through this stack as expeditiously as possible, but there'll be 20 minutes total for the opposition, just like I gave the applicant.
If you have a card.
Yes, if you turned in a card to speak. All right, Ms. Martinez, I'm sorry, you may begin.
Thank you. Sylvia Martinez. I am going to speak on behalf of Principal Wanda Brooker-Beatty from Whitney Elementary. I'm sorry, I have students still here because of a bus incident, so I have to wait until the family picks her up. They need to know that unfortunately, when the landfill burns, we are visited by mice, snakes, and other varmints. It also gives off a very foul smell that hovers over this school and in the community. And I'll let Jalen speak on behalf of Girls Inc.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Jalen Prater. I am the director of the Youth Farm at Girls Inc. Memphis. I would like to present some facts to you today from the groundwater impacts of unlined construction and demolition debris landfilling published by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency in 2019. Of the 43 construction and demolition landfills included in this 7-year report, 33 showed significantly higher contaminations of concern in the groundwater that was downgradient of the landfills. Self-reported groundwater monitoring data from unlined construction and demolition landfills in Minnesota shows that a majority have impacted the groundwater at concentrations that exceed both human and environmental standards. I believe that the 30-acre, 50-year expansion proposed by Memphis Wrecking would result in the same increase of contaminations of concern in groundwater downgradient from the landfill. Thank you.
Sarah Houston.
Good afternoon. Sarah Houston, 200 Wagner Place. I serve as the Executive Director of Protect Our Aquifer. We are a nonprofit based here in Memphis, Tennessee, with the mission to ensure that our amazing drinking water stays as clean and plentiful as it is today. We stand in solidarity with the Fraser community. We have actually opposed numerous landfills in our 7 years of history, and it's been supporting neighbors in Nutbush, Berkeley, and really understanding that place matters. And with this landfill specifically, you're talking about 30 more years of operation. And 30 years of operation is a full generation, and we have to recognize that in this location, they're on the top of a watershed where that rainwater will infiltrate and potentially flow into Loosahachie and Wolf River. They're already on EPA's 303D list, and that's due to high chemicals already existing in our surface water. But a 2024 study is really fascinating that we found. Y'all might be familiar with PFAS, forever chemicals. So we're seeing more and more regulation come out around these. And this 2024 study actually found that there are higher concentrations of PFAS and forever chemicals in construction and demolition landfills and their leachate compared to normal landfill waste. So when we think about TDEC and their regulation, they need to sample groundwater. They're not sampling for PFAS and forever chemicals right now. Those are known cancer-causing chemicals that will be present at this landfill. I just want to make 2 quick points so the residents have plenty of time to chat. But in regards to any potential violations, we do have a letter from TDEC in 2014 where during an inspection of the Fraser Business Center Class 3 landfill, they actually found multiple citations where they were disposing bulk mattresses in a trench that was cut into the side of the landfill cell. There were things that were outside of the scope of what is supposed to be disposed in this Class 3 landfill, and they were not fined. They did fix it eventually, but this was due to an inspection by TDEC. And lastly, I just want to say that this community, they don't want to wait around for 30 years for somebody else's dump to get donated to them. It's very unlikely you're going to be able to actually build on top of a very unstable location where that is not going to be something that will really be beneficial to the community when these next 30 years they're going to be living next to the site. Thank you so much. We hope that you oppose this just like Land Use Control Board.
Thank you, Ms. Houston. Tara Miller.
Tara Miller, 3551 Kearney Street in the lovely 38127. I'm actually wondering if any of these people behind me live in Fraser, have ever lived in Fraser, or whatever the case may be, because I actually live 5 minutes from this landfill. I'm just flabbergasted. This is the same feelings that I have about these gas stations. Fraser, I feel like Fraser already gets treated as Memphis's landfill as it is. I've said many times, our Dollar General has been closed, our Family Dollar has been closed. It's a food desert. I mean, it's so much that I could say. I'm just trying to figure out, they're talking about fighting blight where? It's just, the stuff that I'm hearing is just, I have no words, really. I mean, I have words, but they're not appropriate for right now. But I just really hope that y'all oppose this because so much more could be done in Fraser. As they mentioned earlier about the Northgate Shopping Center, that is in shambles. It's just so many other things that our community needs, and expanding on this landfill is not one of them. And also about these notices, I did not get a notice in the mail, and I'm still wondering, is that just for homeowners or renters as well? Because us renters deserve to be notified about stuff like this too, not just the owners. So yeah, please oppose this because there's so much better that could be done for our community than expanding a landfill.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Peggy Boyd.
My name is Peggy Boyd, and I live near the landfill next to Whitney School. I am an asthmatic. I'm on several medications. And when there's burning, I can smell a chemical smell. It's a smell to it. So that affects my breathing. And I just want clean air. And I just hope and pray that this year thing does not vote yes to this. Vote no to this, I mean.
Thank you, ma'am. Marvis Rogers.
My name is Marvis Rogers. I'm a 45-year resident in Fraser, and I am...
Ma'am, hold on one second, I'm sorry. What's your address?
3059 Victoria Park Cove.
Thank you.
I'm appalled that in 15 years that Memphis Wrecking Company never reached out to the school and the surrounding residents. And they never reached out to find out were there any possible consequences or problems with the burning in the landfill. We also find that they even say that they do not test for possible toxins. So I'm saying no to the expansion because while EPA does not require that they test for potential toxins, the Clean Air Act does the demand that they do. They're supposed to test. In fact, EPA says, when they say they're not required, they also say that if they are caught and there are problems caused to the community from the landfill, they are liable. And they are the ones that refer us to the Clean Air Act. So I'm opposed totally to the expansion.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Adrian Anderson. Please begin with your name and address.
Adrian Anderson, 2785 Mountain Terrace Street. I came prepared with a number of facts as stated by reputable institutions like the University of Michigan, the National Institutes of Health, and many others, but honestly, I believe that even our local office, as represented, has presented wonderful data, and as well as Girls Inc., for a case or cases as to why this should not be approved today, including that it is not consistent with Memphis 3.0, including that it is not consistent or in the best interest of the health and livelihood of me, my aging parents, my daughter and son, my husband, and the many other actual residents in the Fraser community who are to my right. I also do believe that though this information has been very helpful, it is important to also address some of the things noted by the Memphis Wrecking Company as stated here today, which I was not aware, but would like to just highlight that they want to speak and commit action to the benefit of Fraser. And while I certainly work toward the benefit of my young children who cannot speak for themselves, I do not need them to speak for me about what benefits my community. I do not doubt that the owners do not live in Fraser. And so, should they have asked us, we would have said it is not a benefit. Though they do appear in our weekly Fraser Connect meetings. And so they know that those of us who live there staunchly oppose this action, to the extent that they've sent a threatening letter to the individual who runs our CDC, because we are sharing with the community information about how this not only will impact our health, but how it will impact our property values. So I appreciate their desire to benefit Fraser, and so I stand here with the ability to give them an added benefit of speaking for myself. Though they've described the landfill as something that cannot be seen, cannot be smelled, cannot be heard, I also stand to help them in understanding and being a benefit for their knowledge that racism is also something that cannot be seen, smelt, or heard. Classism is also something that is very difficult to be detected by the nose and the ears and the eyes and many other isms that we see that are appearing in our community, not just here in Fraser, not just here in Memphis, but all over the United States of America. It is a known fact, you can Google it, that if you are a minority, you are more likely to have a landfill in your community. And that not only being a minority, the lesser your education and your income also increases the likelihood that you might have a landfill near you. So I understand they did not know that a member of the Fraser community might show up here today, having been raised in the South Memphis community, where a sterilization plant has caused and wreaked havoc on our community and my family. I stand here to wrap up so that my other colleagues can speak, but only to say and end by saying a donation of 60 acres of land sounds very familiar. That the idea of $493,000 in tax revenue over 30 years, let's be clear, that's not a lot of money, okay? $40 million over the course of its potential lifespan. Again, as city contracts go, we know that's not a lot of money. And even if we did think it was a lot of money, even if we thought for a moment that their benefit, quote unquote, to the Fraser community was worth the effort that it is going to put into pushing us downward, I would like to note, because I'm sure everyone in here would agree, my children and their future are not for sale.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't think you heard me. So if we clap again, I'm gonna kindly ask Cedric to clear this out. We're not gonna clap. We're gonna do thumbs up and thumbs down. That's what we're gonna do. Decent and in order. And it's not orderly to start clapping. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Vice Chairman Canal, could you call the next name?
Regina Dowell.
Miss Dowell. I don't see her. Oh, there you go.
Good evening. I'm Regina Dowell. I live at 1739 Haywood. I am a resident of Fraser and a member of the Fraser Community PTSA. I am here to stand against this landfill. They asked us to trust them. They gave us some information, and I passed it on to the Williamses in a meeting where it shows that they said that the landfill that they originally had, once they filled it, they would do something nice like a business area for the community. Let us help them find another space. We've given to the city. The city has been bringing their waste there for years. And so I understand that they purchased property and they want to use it. But you made a promise and you're not sticking to that. So we don't believe that you will say what you said you would do at the end of 30 years. So at this time, I would like to request the City Council to please stand with Fraser, because we, as a young lady said, our children, our family, our futures, we're not for sale. We are here to help our city, but we do not want this landfill to expand simply because they made a promise of what they would do, and they're not sticking to it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Darlene Gugg.
I think it's Darlene Guy. Going once.
William Marshall. Jonathan Reed.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Reed, representing Fraser Urban Garden at 4051 Point Church Road. Due to respect for everyone else, I do want to expedite my comments. So I'm going to focus on the air curtain incinerator specifically. No one's addressing this, and I think it should be a point of emphasis. The air curtain incinerator is not regulated. The EPA is not required to monitor or to actually gauge their specific pollutants because it's considered minor under their designation. I had an opportunity to visit the landfill. I met Steve and Carol. And I'm gracious for them opening their doors for the community to view their site and to answer questions. But the air curtain incinerator still remains an issue. I also made a visit to the Shelby County Health Department and met with the engineer who is responsible over regulating and monitoring that specific site. He said that he only does an eyeball test, right? He looks at the smoke, engages whether it's okay or not, and that is sufficient. That is currently the policy, right? That is legitimate, right? And so, that's of concern to me, because the smoke, so even to scale back. So during the visit, and I mean this with love, right? But during the visit, I did ask whether they could halt the burning during school hours, right? And they said no. They said no because during wind shifts, right, the smoke does go towards the school. And it is a disruption to the students and the staff that I've had an opportunity to speak with, right? And so we're speaking to expansion, which, we should be speaking maybe to something else. And so it's about protecting our children. And it's not necessarily about this specific site, right? How do we go about enacting a policy that requires companies to report specific pollutants and the impact of specific pollutants on communities? Specific pollutants are not currently monitored or regulated from sites, specifically around schools. And so I want that to be a point of emphasis and a heavy point of consideration for all of you all. And this will obviously revisit this issue again, not just with this particular landfill site or this company, but with other companies that obviously are or a harm to our children. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Talise Turner. Michelle Stewart. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Michelle Stewart, 160 South Hollywood. I'm the Facility Services Officer for Memphis Shelby County Schools, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the school board and the school administration. You probably know, but I'll remind you that in July, our school board passed a resolution opposing this expansion. Our students are already neighbors of this landfill. They do not need increased smoke and dirt and pollution and noise. They also do not need a 90-foot tall landfill next to their school. The 500-yard buffer that you saw, that's actually our property where our children play. So I'd just like to reiterate that we are opposed to this. DPD staff was opposed. Land Use Control Board is opposed. We hope that the City Council will vote no. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Latricia Adams. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Latricia Adams. My address is 655 South Riverside Drive, Unit 504B, Memphis, Tennessee 38103. I am speaking in solidarity with the Fraser community members to express strong opposition to the Fraser Recycling Plan Development Amendment proposing an expansion of a landfill. I'm also speaking as a former school teacher of 16 years, and it is disheartening that I even have to come before you today to talk about this. Based on existing facilities, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation's Class 3 permit, this institution has already received 3 complaints, 2 of which were for illegal dumping, 1 notice of violation, and 5 notices of deficiency. Despite previous comments, expanding this landfill would increase or lead to an increase of truck traffic, noise, odors, and the release of harmful particulate matter, heavy metals in which they said that they will recycle, and other toxic pollutants that can cause serious health problems like asthma, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and neurological disorders, as well as adverse pregnancy outcomes like preterm birth and low birth weight. These types of negative environmental attributes also negatively impact property value, increasing the risk of blight. Based on the EPA's EJ screen tool, the location of the proposed landfill expansion has a 12,000 index for toxic releases to the air. That is 56% higher than the state of Tennessee and 62% higher than the national average. And a particulate matter index 10% higher than the state of Tennessee and 9% higher than the national average. Studies have also found elevated cancer rates, especially lung cancer, in communities located near landfills. As a proud Memphis native, a Black woman, and from a frontline community myself, I urge City Council members to have dignity and humanity and vote in opposition of this landfill for the sake of our elders and our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Robert Hooker. And last, Rodney Greener. Can you read that?
He's in support, Mr. Councilman.
Which one was that?
Robert Greener.
Go to the mic. Okay.
Mr. Greener's in support.
Okay. Robert Hooker?
He's in support.
Okay. You can keep your seat for now. Go to the...
All right, council members, this is the part where we all started, the open dialogue. But do you want to have the rebuttal first, or you want the rebuttal and then the council starts communicating? All right, the rebuttal.
Mr. Wardlaw, these two that speak in favor will go against your time. Do you want them to speak before you or after you?
I'm going to hold them in reserve, depending on how much time we have.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I want to hear from you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask first Mr. Britnam to start passing up. We have a number of letters and petitions in support, but I want to address much of what has been said. You heard about, and I took notes as quickly as I could, rats and smells and other varmints and such. Well, many of you have been out to the site, and you can see with your eyes that that doesn't exist. To show that to the community, we've had 3 separate community meetings. We've been to countless other meetings and events in Fraser. We've met with the school. We've spoken in front of the school board. The resolution that was passed against my clients was done in a vacuum without any notice to them or any opportunity for them to speak, which they would have much appreciated if that was being done. But they didn't have that, and that's passed. Mr. Williamson, when he heard about complaints of rats, went and looked at the site. He hired 3 different exterminating companies to come and survey the site, finding no rats. He offered to help the school in any rat problems that they may have. He offered to fund that effort, but was ultimately rejected. You also heard many non-specific complaints about groundwater and odor and insufficient testing. All that testing is done by the state of Tennessee, Shelby County, and the city of Memphis. It's not handled by the Williamsons themselves. To address that further, I would like to have Jason Repsher, who's a 30-year geologist and solid waste consultant with both private industry and TDEC, and he's an expert in Class 3 landfills. I'd like him to talk about some of the environmental impact that this site would have as compared to what you've been told. Mr. Repsher.
Again, Jason Repsher with Barge Design Solutions. Thank you, Council. To address some of the concerns with groundwater, there is a shallow groundwater table of the site. There's actually 40 feet of clay beneath this site. It is an excellent location. The groundwater that's monitored is the upper portion. It is over 500 feet before the Memphis aquifer. So it is a very, very shallow section that groundwater has been testing in. It's in the upper component. Anything that came out of the landfill would be stopped by that clay and would be showing up in that groundwater. And to date, nothing has shown up beyond any of the standards. They also sample for stormwater, and those same stormwater samples are again showing no contamination going forward. I believe there was also an indication of notice of deficiencies during the permit process. That is a very normal process during the permitting. So the TDEC has a back and forth relationship with the applicant, with the consultant, in order to address any issues that they see or things they would like to add to the permit during that. So if you read through those, you'll actually see that it was either changing an elevation or changing a grade or changing an operational procedure. It is not a violation whatsoever. I'll also address the mattresses that brought up. Those were actually from the City of Memphis operations the week before Christmas. They were included in some of the loads that came in. They were staged off to one side, and all of those were then picked up later. It just happened to be that the inspector came right before Christmas, saw those stacked there, and then they removed them. So it's very, that is not really a violation. That is just simply an operational procedure that they then, said, this is what we're doing. So thank you.
property value concerns were also brought up. We have with us Chuck Blow, who's a retired Shelby County Deputy Assessor. And I'm not going to have him come speak in the interest of time, but he's here to answer any questions about that. The data, the proof, the numbers show that there is no property value diminution at all. That was even reluctantly said by members of the Fraser community over the years. Fraser community property values, blessedly, continue to rise, all while this landfill has been there since 2009. With that, I'm going to close my remarks and ask Dedrick Britnam to come and speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to ask the chair to call the two cards that are in support, please.
Vice Chairman.
Robert Hooker, followed by Rodney Greener.
I'm just here to say that I've known Steve Williamson family for 40 plus years, and I know them to be honest Christian people, and they're doing their absolute best to do the best that they can with that landfill, with that program that they're doing there. It's been going on for 15 years, and they've done a fabulous job keeping it right. And I'm just here to tell you that from my experience and from my knowledge of them, they're a giving people. They're not a taking people.
My name is Rodney Greener, 6947 Stout Road, Memphis 38119. I'm more practical in the things I'm saying. This is what affects me, my back pocket, my wallet. The thing about it is by taking your downtown improvements that you are trying your very best to improve the city of Memphis downtown, a short distance to this instead of driving 2 extra hours down into Mississippi saves money for our city, and it also helps out for the drivers to get back and forth more quickly. This is what I think about right here. Thank you.
All right, Dedrick,
thank you.
You got 35 seconds.
Yes,
You got
sir.
something to say?
Dedrick Britnam, my address is 3385 Airways Boulevard, Suite 229. If we could go to slide number 7 on your paper copies, please. And if you'll notice, this slide shows that 90% of the business is from the city of Memphis and MLGW. What is important about this site? It's the last step in the anti-blight or anti-blight fight. It's the last step. As all of you know, the debris comes from every single district in Memphis, in the city of Memphis. So this benefits the entire city of Memphis, not just Fraser, but the entire city of Memphis, because it's the depository for the construction demolition debris generated from tearing down dilapidated and blighted properties.
All right, thank you, Mr. Britnam. Before we go to the council members, I do want to hear from someone from the administration speak specifically. I'm not sure if it's going to be from you all. It's probably going to be Chief Adams or Philip Davis, because I want to know particularly if this landfill is full, where do we take our materials? Because I think that's something important for the council to have in mind. I don't know. Yeah, we want you or Director Davis or both. Or y'all can tag team it. We're gonna take our time and make a good decision today.
So I'll speak. Director Davis actually chairs a committee that may possibly be involved based on your vote. So I know that there is a study, and the study is to actually ascertain the true capacity within this particular area. So we're hoping to understand what that study yields. So I believe that study is going to come in within the next year or so. So if that does happen, then we'll have to pivot. But I think right now, we do have, if I'm not mistaken, we do have local areas in which we can take and use as landfills. But again, you still have the opportunity. This is not to be to prohibit you from voting as such.
We just want, the council's going to make whatever decision council deem is necessary or right. But I think what the council wants from the administration is, just the truth. Like, do we know where we're going to take the material? If the answer is no, do we have any other places where we can take this material?
Okay.
We just want the truth. We will make the decision we think is right in this situation, but we need to know the truth.
Hey, Philip Davis, Solid Waste Director, 2081 Old Oak Drive, Memphis. So if I understand the question, asking do we have a place to take debris? Were this facility not here, there is one active permitted Class 3 landfill in town. That's the Jimmy T. Woods landfill, and it's maybe about a half mile, 3/4 mile from this facility, and it's permitted to receive the same waste as this facility. There's also a permitted Class 3 landfill called the Frank Road Landfill in Collierville. That facility is in the process of being closed by the state of Tennessee. That owner passed away.
So right now it's only this facility and another facility. The Collierville facility is closed because the owner passed.
And then there's Republic Services, 2 Class 1 facilities. One's in Millington and one's on Malone Road on the state line. Those are both Class 1 facilities. That's where our municipal solid waste, your garbage at your house, that's where that goes. But it's permitted to receive this type of waste as well.
So Class 1 facilities can also receive Class 3 waste.
But Class 3 cannot receive Class 1.
Okay. And then, I think that's all the questions that I have for you. And then what I'd like to know, because there was a suggestion, and I think someone from the applicant made the comment that they prioritize Fraser residents when they hire. What I want to know is how many of the folks who are wearing, I'm colorblind, yellow, greenish shirts live in Fraser? Stand up. I want to know. If you live in Fraser, I want to know. Okay. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go to the queue. Councilwoman Walker, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there was a comment a few minutes ago about testing done by the city and the county. What type of testing has the county done other than the man looking at the smoke?
So the testing that is done twice a year for water, there's both landfill, the water runoff is tested, and there are 7 drills on the 7 wells that are drilled into the property, so the deeper groundwater is tested. That's done twice a year. All those documents have been submitted to DPD. There's boxes of them, if anybody want to see it. There's never been any fines in that regard. The noise is tested. At peak levels, the loudest this landfill can be is like a personal lawnmower. The air is tested. There's an air curtain incinerator, which is essentially a fireplace that is on site. Many of you that have been out there would have seen it. It's about the size of a VW Bug. That air is tested. So air is tested, noise is tested, water is tested in 2 different ways. That happens multiple times per year.
So I don't know the particulars of the testing, but if people are saying it's noisy to them, that is their reality. And so how do we dismiss that if people say that the noise is bothering them? How do we dismiss it if they say there is stench in the air that they find offensive? And I'm clear on what you're saying about the testing, but how do we dismiss that if that is very real to the citizens.
Yes, Councilwoman Walker. I'm not asking you to dismiss it. I'm just asking you to balance it with the realities. For those of you that have been able to go to the site, you cannot smell it there. It is as if you're walking in a farm. It's just the crop is different than traditional row crops. There are no pollutants that are going into the soils. The testing shows that. The loudest noise that ever emanates from the landfill, and it's only in spurts, is that of a private lawnmower. So I'm asking not to dismiss these good people. What I'm asking to do is balance that with the reality, with what your members have seen with your eyes and heard with your ears when you visit the site.
Okay, thank you for that. So I just don't have it. It's always this in certain parts of the city. It's always this in certain parts of the city. And this is not the first time this year during my tenure. The coal ash, I have coal ash trucks coming through my community. And when they first started, we were told that they didn't go through any residential communities. And so there is a pattern of certain things happening in certain areas of the city affecting the environment. And it is hard for me to get excited over this in spite of the benefits that have been shared, because there seems to be, and I'm not saying that this is the case with you, sir, but there seems to be a disingenuousness surrounding these issues, the coal ash, the biomass, sterilization services. I have been passing that location all my life, and it's been giving people cancer, and we didn't know it. And so who's to say that at some point some data is going to come forth talking about how this is impacting the community in a way that's not even being discussed today? We have no way of knowing that. And so because of my personal experience and my background with these items, these issues, and then land use didn't support it. Shelby County Schools does not support it. So, and other entities protect our aquifers. So coming from an environmental perspective, I'm not hearing what I need to hear to support this. And in a larger context, I judge that this is contributing to climate change. You want to hear my definition for climate change? Mankind, because of how we're living and what we're doing to the planet, we've made Mother Nature sick. And climate change is Mother Nature throwing up on us. Thank you. I yield the floor.
May I address you very briefly, Councilwoman Walker?
Sure.
Just in a sentence, and again, I don't ever mean to be disingenuous with anything I do standing up here, but it is a trust issue and a relationship issue. I'd ask you to look at Director Philip Davis's words again. This is a very important contract, speaking of the Williamson's contract, to ensure the health and quality of our citizens. Thank you.
It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
All right.
It's not healthy.
Okay. All right, we're going to go on. For some reason, Councilwoman Logan was inadvertently taken out the queue. Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chair. I'm glad we were able to rectify that glitch.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to share that we definitely are going to be moving forward in pressing to get more blight discarded, more houses torn down, vacant houses, more blight removed, and we definitely need a recycling plant, another recycling place. However, we have heard from the residents, we don't live there, they do. None of the people talking except that one gentleman. And so when you don't live at a place, you don't know what's happening at midnight, you don't know what the smell is, what rodents coming. So we can't, none of us live there. So I would not want to dismiss what the residents are saying there. And, I totally understand. So we need it as a city. That Fraser residents do not want it. So it appears that we need to find some vacant land owned by the city and work with Fraser Recycling Center to open it up somewhere else. There's tons of vacant space around the city, I'm sure, that's zoned EMU or that we can consider. So I would like to see that be a consideration because the residents have spoken that they do not want it. So thank you, I yield back.
Thank you for that very short presentation, Councilwoman Logan. Councilwoman from Super District 8, Director Davis, can we allow Councilwoman White to, you want me to go on to someone else? You sure? I know that Councilwoman Green is eager to speak as well.
Well, I've got questions all over the place.
All right, Councilwoman White, you recognize.
Thank you so much, Chairman. And this would be a John Zena or Philip Davis or Chief Adams question. I just wanted to clarify, the other landfill that's a quarter a mile from this particular site, is that the one that just got like a 30-acre extension?
John Zena, Planning and Development. I was just about to tell you that I got something a little wrong about that.
Okay.
Yes, the landfill that is a quarter mile away, the Jimmy T. Wood landfill, I'm not sure if there's a more official name for it, that is also a Class 3 landfill, as Director Davis was saying. They did apply in 2022 for a plan development amendment. They requested an additional 50 feet of height on their approved landfill. That's a 96-acre site. So their request wasn't to expand the overall footprint, but to expand the amount of height that they were able to fill as a part of that landfill. But that was approved by actually the county commission because it is just outside of the city. That was approved by the county commission in 2022.
Okay, in the particular landfill in this one is a 28-acre approval?
That's what I saw, yes. It's around 28 acres, yes.
Okay, and then for, and I'm sorry, what was your name?
Lou Wardlaw, Councilwoman.
Mr. Wardlaw, thank you for coming. What's the expected, in terms of right now, if this expansion is not approved, what's the, I guess, the date that you all are anticipating reaching capacity if building remains at the same rate right now?
Roughly 10, maybe 15 years.
10 to 15 years?
That would be with the expansion, excuse me. Without the expansion, they'll be closed within the year and you'd have the monopoly that I talked about. I apologize.
You said without it, it would
Without the expansion, it would be closed within the year.
Without the expansion, the landfill will be closed within a year?
It will run out of room and be closed within the year, and then you'd have the monopoly with the Woods facility.
well, okay, I thought it was 5 years. Okay, so it's within the year. Okay. Well, that's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilwoman White. Councilwoman Green?
Thank you, Chair. I did have a chance to go out to the site, and I'm not sure how many other council members did. I took the executive director of Girls Inc. with me and an intern. And, you know, you guys were, as was mentioned by others in the Fraser community, gracious and open and showed us around. And for me, it was very eye-opening. And I appreciated your directness that day. I think there's some other things that I find more concerning. I will say this stack of paper that looks really impressive, it only takes about 2 seconds of reading it. I support cost-friendly solutions to stop illegal dumping that complement the work already being done across the community to keep Memphis clean. Illegal dumping must be stopped in our community. I think that's a really deceptive way to get people to sign on for a landfill. And when you look at the addresses and the zip codes that are listed, Very few of them in this giant packet that is single page that you have printed for us are actually in Fraser. The reason that I brought Executive Director Sylvia Martinez with me that day is because I am on the board of Girls Inc. I am on the board of Girls Inc. because I care about the girls in the city of Memphis. We have a Bill of Rights in Girls Inc. that I've mentioned before. One of the points in our Bill of Rights is girls have the right to be confident in themselves and be safe in the world. I think it's particularly interesting on a day when we are trying to raise awareness around breast cancer. And as Ms. Houston from Protect Our Aquifer mentioned PFAS, and what the chemicals that we put into our ground can do to girls and women's bodies. It's taking us decades upon decades to know what that's done. And we still don't know all of it. But what I do know is that Girls Inc. has a farm that's just across the street. And that farm feeds their minds and feeds their bodies. And when we start putting things in the ground closer and closer to those girls and to that food that they raise, it's a problem for me because they have a right to be safe in the world. It is a problem for me as a mother of 3 children who are in public schools. When we rode around, as our presenter from the Department of Planning and Development mentioned, it may be technically within the legal limits. And I'm a lawyer, so I know about technically within the legal limits, but against the spirit of what this is supposed to do. It is, for those of you who have not ridden out there, the line of where it would be next to the school is incredibly close. And I have kids in school, and I would not want a landfill that close to my children. Now, I live in District 2, and as my councilwoman co-part, Dr. Easter Thomas, always says, if you like it so much, put it in your district. I wouldn't put it in my district. And so I wouldn't do that again because of the safety of the girls that I support, of the people of the community in Fraser that I support. And I'm not trying to be unfair to the applicants. I think you have been nothing but open and kind to me in the questions that I've had. But I think some of your tactics, like I said, this is incredibly deceptive. I think that you are skirting the spirit of the law while staying within the technicality. And for me, the spirit is more important. So I'm going to be voting against this, and I encourage my fellow council members to do the same.
Thank you, Councilwoman Green, for that eloquent dissertation. Councilwoman, you used to tell me to keep moving. All right, we got a couple council members consistently in the queue. All right, go Councilwoman Cooper Sutton, then Councilwoman Walker, then Councilwoman Easter Thomas. Then I will speak. Councilwoman Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had one question I forgot earlier, and if you can hear my voice, I just want you to think about this. Would you want to live 500 feet from this facility? Thank you. I yield the floor.
Reverend Dr. Cooper Sutton.
Thank you, Chair.
Hold up, mute your mic. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I just have a quick question, and I want to ask you, can we just go ahead on and vote this down? We have spent a lot of time on this, and I think we know where the community stands and where everybody stands, and I think we need to just go ahead on and vote this down and move forward.
Now,
thank you.
You know, sometimes I would agree with you, but there's a doctor from District 7 that would be highly upset if she didn't get the chance to
I just
stand
thought
10
I'd
toes
ask,
down.
Chairman.
Councilwoman Easter Thomas, stand 10 toes. I know you coming. Hold on, mute your mic.
Thank you, Chair. Colleagues and folks who are listening, I did do my due diligence, and since I've been in office 2020, I think the Fraser community has let council member representatives know about what's on their hearts and minds as far as this goes. Recently this year, I did have the opportunity to visit the landfill, and thank you again to Memphis Recon for extending the invitation and learning and showing. I learned a whole lot, more than I probably ever need to know about landfills and how they work and operate. However, as we go through this year, and there's been a lot of environmental issues on our dockets and agendas this year, and council members, I hope you're listening as well. As we go through this year, I think that it's just evident is that we are still living and experiencing a time where we are heavily plagued with decisions that are warped and wrapped in environmental racism. And these things have plagued our communities thanks to our council forefathers, if you on the wall over there, who approved land designations and zoning in our most vulnerable, our most Black, and our most brown areas. And no, we can't alter the past, but we can ensure that we are not going back to that decision-making and to whatever has led us to the yes, to how we even got in 2007 an approval for a landfill in the Fraser community that's by elementary and a high school in the first place. But no more generations, because an expansion, we're talking about a generation worth of time, right? No more generations to be susceptible to the environmental racism, the harm, and just the blatant outright disrespect for Black and brown bodies in zoning and legislation that is done by legislative bodies like ourselves. Also, with the note that one of the representatives brought up about 90% of this business is coming from the city of Memphis, colleagues, that's asking us that moving forward, we need to use this as a catalyst to really think about and consider our green footprint in this city and what we're doing with attacking the topics of blight and waste. You cannot say that you are cleaning up the blight in your district if you are dumping it in mine. So we have to think about moving forward, how are we looking at how the city disposes of what it doesn't want, what it doesn't need, and what it's thinking that is not acceptable to one community, but should be tolerated in another. So colleagues, I will be voting no on this, and not because I think that the landfill should stop abruptly. I visited, I see how they do business. As far as it goes, it makes a whole lot of sense as far as a landfill is, but we cannot expand that for another generation. And I say generation because 30 years is a generation. So we cannot be expanding that and then wait and tell the community, okay, after 30 years, you'll be able to see a future. No, we should be able to make those decisions and those looks futuristically as now. So colleagues, I ask you kindly to vote no on this. And it's not a no against the applicants. It's not a no against what you are doing. But as within my 1.5 hour tour at Memphis Recon, right, I did learn and see that we do have other options to put our waste. And we need to be more environmentally friendly, COO and Director Davis, in our decisions moving forward on what we're doing with this waste, because we cannot say that we're being positive and removing the blight in one district and placing it to plague another that may be filled with some of our most vulnerable, our most Blackest, and our most brown folks. So I won't call for the question since Chair says he still has to talk. However, after what you have to say, I urge colleagues to vote no on this, as Councilwoman Cooper Sutton says, so we can get on with more things and dreaming and envisioning how we're going to better our communities that doesn't involve plaguing them, as I said, our council forefathers before us have already suscepted us to a life of environmental racism across our city.
Thank you, Councilwoman Easter, Dr. Thomas. So, colleagues, I had an opportunity over the past month and a half or so to visit and also to be a speaker at Fraser Exchange. I did have an opportunity to have conversations with the owners of Memphis Recon. But I think the part that was most prevalent on my mind is the conversations that I had after the meeting with several folks who live in the Fraser community. And even though this item was yet to be on the agenda, what seemed to be pretty consistent by the folks I've had an opportunity to talk with was the landfill expansion. And I'm not even sure if I had a conversation with anyone who was in support of the landfill expansion, of those folks who, attend the Fraser Exchange meetings every week. So I kind of think I know how this is going to go. I would be surprised if this receives one vote in support of, just because, I think I always talk about this council as the council of the people, and I think this council has consistently gotten it right. Sometimes they are difficult decisions, sometimes they are not. But, I want to encourage this council to keep standing with the people. With that, Madam Comptroller, prepare the screen.
Canale, no. Carlisle, no. Cooper Sutton, no. Easter Thomas, no. Ford, no. Green, no. Logan, no. Spinoza, no. Swearingen, Washington, no. Walker, no. Warren, no. White, no. Chairman Smiley, no.
That item fails. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 6.
Item number 6 is a resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code, approving a special use permit at the subject property located at 2895 Poplar Avenue. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. The case number is SUP 24-35.
I'll move back to my other seat here. The committee met If I could ask everyone to please exit the chamber quietly. Colleagues, we met on item number 6. It received a favorable recommendation. And with that, I move to the floor. We've had a presentation. If any council member wishes to see anything else again on number 6, DPD is on hand. Mr. Bray is on hand. Councilman Carlisle, you're recognized. Seeing no other members in the queue, Madam Comptroller, please prepare the voting screen. 6.
Council members, please cast your votes for item number 6.
Council members, please cast your votes for item 6. It's fast food restaurant. No. This is going in at,
The votes for number 6 are Canale, yes.
sorry. It passed.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. Walker, yes. And Warren, yes. Oh, okay, my vote may go away, but I will. This was item number 6, the resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code approving a special use permit at the subject property located at 2895 Poplar Avenue. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. The case number is SUP 24-35.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. This item was heard in committee, received a favorable recommendation in committee. So I'll ask again, does anybody want to hear from DPD? Do you want to re-vote on this item? You want a presentation? Will you make it as fast as possible?
Good afternoon, Nicholas Wardrop, DPD. This is a request to reuse an existing, it used to be a Wendy's restaurant at 2895 Poplar. So here you can see an aerial. Essentially, this needs an SUP because in 2023, we added the transit overlay district. Here's some pictures of the property today. You can see it was built as a Wendy's in 1985, but the Wendy's has been closed since about 2015. Here's the existing conditions of the site and their proposed site plan. And we're recommending approval with these 9 conditions. I'm happy to explain them if requested. And that concludes my presentation.
Woman Cooper Sutton, you still?
Oh, I'm withdrawing. We're good.
Okay, Madam Comptroller, we're going to re-vote on this item so that everybody has a chance to weigh in. All right, this is please cast your votes for item 6 for the second time. All right.
This is the vote for item number 6 that will be recorded. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. Walker, yes. And Warren, yes. I have some additional council members. Please show Council Member White and Spinoza as voting yes on this item.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Please show that item being approved twice. Would you please call item number 7?
Item number 7 is a resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code, approving a planned development at the subject property located at 4701 Boeingshire Drive. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. It was held from August 20th. The case number is PD 23-29.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. This item has been held a couple times, I think. There has been some amendments and some work has been done on this. DPD, do you want to go through the
Do you want me to go through the full
changes?
presentation or just the changes?
Just the changes.
Okay. So the applicant needed to bring some of the elevations for the lots. And so here is the elevation for lot 1, elevation for lot 2, elevation for lot 3, elevation for lot 4, lot 5, and finally lot 6.
Colleagues, any questions? Mr. Bray, would you like to speak about this, please?
David Bray with the Bray Firm, 2950 Stage Plaza North. Can I just take the 2 approvals on the last one and be done?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
At the last time we were up here, folks from the Red Acres community had asked, we had first, going back historically, we had gone from 11 lots to 6 lots, and then they wanted floor plans or a site plan, so we had added that to the plan to show, and then they wanted to see the actual houses. So Mr. Batchelor has had his architect draw up these sketches of what the houses that would go in those would look like. If you go back in the staff report, you can see where we've got site plans showing, what kind of front yards and backyards and side yards all of these houses will have. And the applicant is here. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
What's the average square footage? They range from what?
Can you go back to the site plan that's got the houses on there? I believe the average is right around 2,100, if I remember correctly. The lot 3 is around just under 1,900 square feet. But we've got a 2,400 on lot 4. This is testing my eyesight. 2,100 on 1, 2,300 on 2. So just above 2,000 is the average house size. The 3 lots that front on Bowingshire have an alley to the back that won't have additional driveways to Bowingshire. Then we have that private drive coming in. The other 3 lots will access to that private drive. The 3 lots that front on Bowingshire, their alley will come down to the private drive and then go out to Bowingshire.
Thank you, Mr. Bray. Councilman Warren, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Bray, have you shown these renderings to the community, and how did they like them, and how did that conversation go?
We've not heard back from them. I know several of them are here today. We sent them through the DPD staff and reached out, but did not hear back from them. What was that, Monday we got the site plan? So it's been a very short term.
How did DPD send the documents to the community?
I received the elevations on Monday from Mr. Bray.
So yesterday?
Yes.
And you sent them out last night?
I didn't send them out.
So they haven't been sent out yet? Okay, so I would propose that we hold this for 2 weeks and let the people look at the elevations and then come back after you've had time to discuss it with them. I think that may be a good thing to do. That way they can see it and see if they like it. Because this way it's sort of like, well, you did it, but you didn't get it to them. Monday's like really short time to get it there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Warren. I'm going to let every council member speak, and then we'll speak to the whole in just a minute. Councilwoman Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I was going to speak to the fact that the neighborhood association said that they hadn't seen the renderings, and thank you for all of that just now. So is that standard procedure for you all to send the renderings to them, for them to send to the neighborhood?
I was worried when we got notice that we were on this agenda that we didn't get the comments back from the architect until Monday. So the main concern was getting them to the DPD staff.
The main concern was getting it to the staff and not to the residents. Because it was such a short term. So in this moment, looking back over the past few days, could you have worked this differently and created an opportunity or looked to ensure that the residents would see would receive copies, would see the rendering in this moment, looking back over the past few days.
My apologies. I thought they were in contact with the DPD staff, and Ms. Shawna said that she was updating the staff report that they would get that as well. So I apologize that they are just now getting it.
So you want to look at them and apologize?
Sure. I'm sorry that you guys have not got this before. I will get with you after this and get a good email and I'll forward those directly to you.
Okay, thank you for that, and I'm almost done. So is it standard operating procedure for you all to receive the rendering and get it to the residents?
Yeah.
John Zena, Planning and Development. Councilwoman, no, it is not. It is the responsibility of the applicant to communicate with the neighbors on any changes that are requested by the neighbors, any information that needs to be communicated to the neighbors.
All right, thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield the floor.
Councilwoman Walker. Councilwoman Swearingen, Washington.
Thank you, Chair. If we could just take a couple of minutes, I just wanted to hear from one of the neighbors. They've come down here, and just to give them an opportunity.
All year.
Ms. Talford, could you come up for a second, please? If you could just briefly share, what are some of the concerns that the neighbors are having with this development, please?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am here and I've heard many of the concerns. I would like to have one of our secretary to come, Miss Elaine, if she could come. She's got the specifics on the information that our residents have been communicating as it relates to this, and I unfortunately have not been at the meetings. I really don't want to speak on their behalf.
I'm gonna be like the teachers, all these sad conversations I can't hear.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Devon Johnson, and my address is 4766 Borenshire. We've been wanting to see the rendering of what was going to be built at that location, but we just found out today the plans that he has in place. However, the property that he has is really not that big to engage 6 pieces of property on that land. And if you're going to have 2 stories and you have kids, there are no place for the kids to play. The traffic is heavy on Borenshire. You have a lot of accidents at Shepherd Drive in Borenshire, so it's going to impede the traffic for the residents going over there. We had a meeting on last Tuesday, and the residents still say no to the 6 pieces of property at their location for various reasons. And we would like for you all to, at this time, make a decision if possible, because we stand firm on saying no. And also, Mr. Batchelor, he has not been transparent with us. We have to call him several times to even cut the grass. And I have called him and remind him it's time to cut your grass. So I can only imagine what it's like building property over there, because we can't get him to do anything. He won't return the calls, and he's had a month to get the rendering for us to even look at. He has not done that. So I feel like he's just not being transparent. But even 6 houses on that piece of property will not work for Red Oaks. The houses will not look like what's already there. And it's going to change the value, the appearance of Red Oaks as we know it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilman Carlisle.
What's the current zoning of the property?
So I believe it's under a planned development, which has been a commercial mixed use, if I'm not mistaken.
So a commercial building could be built there, like a retail building could be built there.
By right.
With more traffic.
Yes.
Theoretically, right? So you could end up with, instead of 6 homes with 2 two-car garages, adding 12 cars. Say 3 cars, 18 cars if there's a 3rd driver in the home, like a kid or a family member. So that's 18 total cars just there, or a retail center that could be up to 30 or 40,000 square feet.
Correct.
That could have 40 or 50 cars and have hours all the way till 10 p.m. at night. So that's the alternative. I recognize that and I'll just say this from a development standpoint, it is hard. I know everybody always wants people to show up here with a full package, fully vetted, for zoning. They're not asking for entitlements or anything. So let me just lay one thing out there, and I'm not trying to make a defense. This is for the edification of the council. All those pre-development expenses cost money. Renders aren't free. And I know you think, people have a tendency to think that there is just endless cash out there in the world, but there's not. Now, there are some expenses that developers are expected to take on. It's part of the risk of being a developer. But to expend several $100,000 every time you have an idea and you want to do something and you know that you may still get a no is hard to do. So I just want to put that out there. Again, I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just trying to explain the process of why documents come later, because you're trying to get a feel for, is this project even worth continuing to spend money on in order to push it down the pipeline? Or is the first neighborhood meeting a no, or you just know it's not going to happen? You see it go both ways. So I recognize why the renders weren't the first thing that they produced, because it costs a lot of money to produce renderings. What I will say for the council is I've sat on this body for several years, and I'll defer to the representative of the district, but I've sat on this body for several years now and listened to commercial development after commercial development after commercial development come through the body. And every member hop on the microphone and say, well, I just don't know why we can't build new homes here. Why can't we get new single-family homes here? And this is an opportunity to do that. Now, here's the kicker. If you don't like the size of the lot, or you don't like the use of materials, or you don't like the amount of the windows that are on the front, this body has the authority to condition those parameters so that aesthetically, architecturally, it fits to within what you believe as the body and the neighbors believe fit into the character of the neighborhood. I will give you one piece of advice and I will be quiet. I implore you to work with them, even if it's a no vote. I would implore you to work with them to try and get single-family residential built, because since I've been here, I think only 4 developments have come through that have built actual single-family development in zip codes that were not located in East Memphis, and it will raise your property values and bring stability. If you're worried about the grass being cut or safety, the best way to do that is to activate that block. And if you're concerned about the size of the lots or the aesthetics of the building, then DPD, the members of this body, and the developer can work together to figure that out and put them into the resolution that would give them the authority. If after all of that you still don't want it, fine. The body can vote it down, and your representatives of District 8 and District, District 3, thank you. I almost said 4, but District 3, that's fine. But I have been on this body now for several years, and I think that you have a wonderful opportunity, and I recognize you're going to tell me that I don't live in the neighborhood and I don't understand and all these things, and that's fine. But I do understand property value, I do understand economics, and I do understand architecture. And if you have a chance to get 11 single-family homes built in your neighborhood, that's something I want in my district. I'll take that. I'll take those 11 single-family. Six homes.
We went from 11 to 6.
Right now. I will take 6 2,000-square-foot homes with 2-car garages right now. So with that being said, I support the hold. I would encourage the developer and the neighborhood to come together on what they think the aesthetics would look like. But if you think a commercial use on that lot is better or less traffic than 6 single-family homes, that is, there is not a commercial development that I could think of that would be factually right other than maybe storage. That's about it. So other than that, I just want to get kind of some of the just general facts out there from my perspective about neighborhood development. I would take this in a heartbeat, but I will again defer to the member of the district, but I would think that a hold and one more meeting would be beneficial. Yeah. And I'll reiterate, if you want all brick, condition it all brick. If you want it to be hardy board, condition it to be hardy board. If you want 7 windows on the front, condition it that way. But I implore you not just to say no based on, this is a missed opportunity, I think. But again, I'll defer to the member. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Carlisle. Colleagues, any other members in the queue? Is there any objection to holding this item for 3 weeks and see if we can hammer out a deal between the 2 parties? All right, this item will be held until November 12th. Madam Comptroller. I've lost my place. Please call item, no.
I just did.
Please call the consent agenda.
What about 8?
starting with item 10.
Thank you. Item number 10 on our consent agenda is up for second reading. This ordinance is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. The case number is Z24-05. The ordinance number is 5918. Item number 11 is a resolution approving the engineering plans for Genesis of Wolf Chase and accepting bond as security. There is a request for same night minutes. The contract number is CR-5463. Item number 12 is a resolution approving the engineering plans for Peach Tree Development and accepting bond as security. There is a request for same night minutes. Contract number CR-5464. Item number 13 is a resolution accepting public improvements for future Lot 2 south of Rains Express subdivision and releasing the bond. There is a request for same night minutes. The contract number is CR-5449. Mr. Chairman, that does conclude our consent agenda items.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Councilwoman Swearinger Washington.
Thank you. The committee met. There was a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
That's okay. Item was moved by Carlisle, seconded by Espinosa. Seeing no members in the queue, please prepare the voting screen for the consent agenda.
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Green, yes. Spinoza, yes. Warren, yes. White, yes. Please show Cooper Sutton as voting yes on this item. And also Councilmember Ford.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 30.
Item number 30 is a resolution to request that MATA submits its financials and budget information to the Memphis City Council each quarter. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Green, and there is a request for same night minutes.
24 is the whole. Councilman Ford, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair. Committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Councilwoman Green, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Chair. I think that today we had a very productive meeting around MATA, and we received a very informative report from Transpo. In that report, and one of its recommendations, actually multiple times throughout the report, was better oversight, more transparency, and especially as it relates to the financials and the budget. So this is a way for us to get involved in that process as a council, as fiduciary responsible members to the citizens. If we're going to be granting MATA or any other public transportation agency tens of millions of dollars, then we need to be seeing their budget, and we need to be seeing it regularly. So that's why I have sponsored this resolution, and we have the support of the administration. We're in lockstep on this, that we need to be getting the information and getting it quarterly. Thank you.
All right. Doesn't appear that any other. Doesn't appear that any council members are in the queue. Moved by Councilwoman Green, seconded by Councilman Spinoza. Madam Comptroller, would you please prepare the screen? Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. White, yes. Please show Chairman Smiley as voting yes on this item.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 31.
Item number 31 is appointments to the Memphis Area Transit Authority. Brandon Arundel, Cynthia Bailey, Emily Greer, Sandy Klink, Brian Marflack, Jackson McNeil, Anna McQuiston, Dana Pointer, and Maya Siggers. And there is a request for same night minutes for these appointments.
Councilwoman Easter Thomas, you're recognized.
Chair, the committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Moved by Easter Thomas, seconded by Swearingen Washington. Madam Comptroller, could you please read the screen?
Canali, yes. Carlisle abstained. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. White, yes. Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 35 before Councilman Carlisle gets it?
Item number 35 is a resolution requesting a 12-month moratorium on the enforcement of subsection 423.5 of the Memphis and Shelby County Building Code, applying ICC 500 storm shelter requirements to Group E occupancies, and requesting the Memphis and Shelby County Division of Planning and Development and the Building Code Advisory Board to study alternatives to applying ICC 500 to Group E occupancies. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development, and there is a request for same night minutes.
Madam Comptroller, Vice Chairman Canali, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee recommended approval, and I so move.
Moved by Councilman Canali, seconded by. The number's wrong on the screen. Okay, so to be 30, we're on number 35. Can we get? There we go. Moved by Canali, seconded by Warren. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen? Oh, hold the screen. I think Councilwoman White's in the queue. Can we get the mic up? Your mic's muted. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I wanted to disclose that I am special counsel for the County Commission and am recusing myself from this vote.
Okay. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen? I'm not sure if it passes with 3.
Actually, it does. It's a resolution. I need more affirmative votes than nays.
I mean, that's fine with me. But go ahead, Council.
Can everybody recast their votes for me, please? Thank you.
What's this?
It says 31 again.
I know. I know. We are voting on item number 35. Yes. I don't have any problem with that this time. Thank you. Let's do a roll call vote on 35. Councilmember Canali? Yes. The screen is stuck. Carlisle? Cooper Sutton? We're taking a manual vote of this item. The screen is frozen. Yes. Easter Thomas? Ford? Green? Thank you. Logan? Spinoza? Swearingen Washington?
Yes.
Walker? Warren? White? Recused, that's correct. Thank you. And Chairman Smiley?
Yes.
Thank you.
This item
So much for the vote to save time.
passes.
My fault.
You know, everybody mess up from time to time. All right, Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 8 so Ms. Hyman can be satisfied?
Item number 8 is going to be displayed on the board, we pray. Item number 8 is a resolution approving the closure of a portion of Jackson Avenue and Lauderdale Street between North 3rd Street and Interstate 40. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. It was held from August 6th. The case number is SAC 24-04.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Vice Chairman Canali, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colleagues, we met briefly. We just read this case into the record. We did not hear a presentation in committee. I would like to hear from DPD, and then the applicant and their representatives are on hand for questions. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll move it to the floor.
All right, moved by Canali, seconded by Councilman Espinoza. I would like to note, if I knew this was Mr. Whitehead's case, I would have held it a little longer. Do we want a presentation?
Yes.
All right, you're recognized.
Latanya Hull from DPD. This is case SAC 2024-04. The applicant is American Lebanese Syrian Associated Charities doing business at St. Jude. And the request is to close and vacate a portion of Jackson Avenue and Lauderdale Street south of North 3rd Street. This is the location of the street closure, which is on the St. Jude's campus. The zoning map for the area is highlighted here. This is the portion of the street that will be closed on this particular request. Here are site photos of the site looking from Jackson Avenue towards 3rd. And then the other photo is looking the opposite direction. This is a right-of-way vacation plat. Here's a concept plan which shows the exact same street closure. So the applicant is requesting closure of a portion of Jackson Avenue east of North 3rd Street and a portion of Lauderdale Street north of Alabama Avenue. The closure will support the implementation of its campus master plan, which calls for developing several controlled access points and exit points throughout campus to repurpose areas of the campus operation, to construct a campus visitor center, to construct other amenities on the campus. Approving the closure of the street is appropriate. It supports the planned growth and development of St. Jude and the hospital district. It will also help to improve, secure, and control circulation in and around St. Jude. The closure of the intersection at North Lauderdale Street was previously modeled in the Memphis Tourism Development Zone traffic study. It did not show any significant impact on the surrounding network and intersections. The primary anticipated effect of the closure is that some drivers may experience a slight inconvenience having to find an alternative route. The access to utility easements and for emergency vehicles would be retained. We do not feel that this abandonment or divestiture of the subject right-of-way will have any undue or substantial effect on the existing vehicular and pedestrian traffic flow of the surrounding area. Our recommendation is to approve with conditions, and the conditions just are standard conditions in terms of how the street will be closed, adding curbs and gutters and sidewalks, and the like. That concludes my presentation.
Excellent presentation. All right, doesn't appear to be any council members in the queue. Mr. Whitehead, do you want to talk to us? I'm so happy you came up instead of him.
I mean, you get a better deal. My name is Sarah Hall, and I'm the Chief Legal Officer for ALSAC, the Fundraising and Awareness Organization for St. Jude. I live at 4163 Mead Village Cove, Memphis, 38117. I know it's a long night, And I thank you all for your time and attention today. As you know, we have been engaging in a significant expansion plan. There hasn't been a day that we haven't had a crane or more on campus in the last 5 years. And as a part of that expansion, we are improving our access for our patients and our visitors to campus. If you know, the first time a patient comes to campus, it may be the middle of the night, it may be dark, it may be difficult to get there, and our entrance was crammed up at the front of campus without a really clear way for our patients and our families to get through. By closing this portion of Lauderdale after acquiring the city parcels and the fire station moving off site, we will be able to have a clearer entrance for our patients and families. And we appreciate the staff's thorough review of the application and their responsiveness and are here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Attorney Hall. Could you introduce your colleague? We don't.
Yes, Josh White with the
Not that guy.
and Jennifer Paraguay with Kimley Horn. Yes.
What's her last name?
Paraguay.
Paraguay.
With Kimley Horn. She's our engineer.
Okay, perfect. All right. Any questions from this body? All right. Thank you all for your presentation. All right. It seems that all hearts and minds are clear. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen?
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. White, yes. And Chairman Smiley, yes.
All right, this item passes. Congratulations. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number...
Well, I will just briefly say that at 26, I left Baker Dawson to take a pay cut and come work for the city because I cared about the city and worked in 5 different titles, including in the basement of 1B as the benefits administrator. And I think you all helped pass changes to the Blue M plan and ultimately became the city attorney after being the interim HR director, and appreciate all the council members on this staff's help and Mr. Wade's in my education of city government. So thank you.
Thank you so much for taking that pay cut. Some of us are not. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 30? No. Item number 9.
Item number 9 is a resolution approving the closure of the entirety of St. Jude Place between Danny Thomas Boulevard and Lane Avenue. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. It was held from August 6th. The case number is SAC 24-05.
Thank you. Councilman Canale has his marching orders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item was also read into the record in committee. It's a companion piece to number 8. I don't think there's a need for a presentation, unless so Councilmember wishes.
No,
there are some friendly amendments that I would like for Mr. Whitehead or DPD to announce.
Okay.
And with that, I'll move it to the floor.
All right. Moved by Canale, seconded by Spinoza. Mr. Whitehead, brevity is the word. Go ahead.
Josh Whitehead, 275 Jefferson, and I believe Ms. Hull has this on PowerPoint. I have a handout also.
Just throw it up in there.
Can we read into the record?
Very briefly, you'll see on this agenda item in the resolution, there's several conditions of approval. Condition number 6 deals with fire access. We propose, and this is in the handout, to add, in addition to the option of constructing a 96-foot cul-de-sac, the option to build a 70-foot hammerhead. That would allow fire access to go both through the campus, they'll have access through the gate, but also to use that hammerhead to turn around and go back down lane. The second handout that you're about to receive graphically demonstrates what I just said.
Thank you for that presentation. Council members, appears that all hearts and minds are clear.
Screen still says 8.
But could we change the screen, and then, once we change the screen, can we call the question?
And Mr. Chairman, as amended.
As amended.
Thank you.
Per Deputy Director Whitehead, Director, and I don't know your title. There you go. Can we get the screen changed to number 9? It's frozen. It still says. I blame Jonathan. I mean, we might be voting on number 8 again, so we need the screen to change. I mean, the screen says 8, so if we casting our vote for 9, I think Chief Adams needs to get us some new equipment.
Roll call for item number 9. As amended, and this is Danny Thomas Boulevard and Lane Avenue closure. Canale? Yes. Carlisle? Cooper Sutton? Yes. Easter Thomas? Yes. Ford? Yes. Green? Yes. Logan? Yes. Spinoza? Yes. Swearingen Washington? Yes. Walker? Warren? Aye. White? Yes. Chairman Smiley?
Yes, this item passes. That's all. Mr. Whitehead, thank you all so much.
You see double.
Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 32?
Item number 32. Item number 32 is a resolution to amend the Memphis City Council Community Grant Program for FY25. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by Chairman Smiley, and there is a request for same night minutes.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Councilwoman, Vice Chairman Canale, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
Moved by Canale, seconded by Swearingen Washington. Appears all hearts and minds are clear, Madam Comptroller. There you go. Council members, cast your vote.
Canale, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. White, yes. Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 33?
Item number 33 is a resolution to accept $50,000 from Amazon to create tech and rec spaces in City of Memphis community centers, Districts 1, 4, and 6, Super Districts 8 and 9. This resolution is sponsored by the administration, and there is a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Canale, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
Moved by Canale, seconded by Swearingen Washington. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen for a vote? cast your vote.
Canali, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. Walker, yes. Warren, yes. White, yes.
We good.
Please show Mr. Spinoza's voting yes. And Chairman Smiley, yes. And Cooper Sutton, yes, please. Thank you.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 34?
Item number 34 is a resolution regarding the tourist surcharge and downtown tourism zone for the Sheraton Hotel, District 7, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the administration, and there is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilwoman Green, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. The committee met and recommended approval, and I so move.
Moved by Councilwoman Green, seconded by Councilman Swearingen Washington. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen for a vote?
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. White, yes. Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 35? Oh, forgot we did that one because call out. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 36?
Item number 36 is a resolution to amend the insurance fund disbursement process to directly allocate proceeds. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by Councilman Spinoza and Councilwoman Green. There is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Canali, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee met, recommend approval, and I so move.
Moved by Vice Chairman Canali, seconded by Councilman Spinoza. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen for a vote? Council members?
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Walker, yes. White, yes. Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 37?
Item number 37 is a resolution to amend Accelerate Memphis program. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington, and there is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Canali.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee met, recommend approval, and it's already been moved. But Councilwoman East Thomas in the queue.
All right, moved by Swearingen Washington, seconded by Councilwoman Easter Thomas. Councilwoman Easter Thomas, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Chair. Can I have some clarification? So we're holding on the original agenda item 25.
Withdrawn.
Which is, well, it was said held, is that the one that said it was held to December?
No.
It's supposed to be 24.
20, hold up. Canali's coming over there to help you.
Oh, it was 24.
24.
Okay.
My bad.
So we withdrew 25, 26.
They should be replaced by.
Because we're doing 37?
Brooklyn.
Right?
Ooh.
All those two replaced by 37.
We're not ready to vote yet. I got a point of information.
25, 26, and 28. And then it's replaced with what number? 37. 25, 26, 28 were withdrawn and replaced by 37.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear.
And
Just make
38.
sure. Thank you.
And Councilwoman Logan, did you want to speak on one of these items? I think you want to speak on 37, or you? You want to speak on 38? Yeah, that's number 38. Okay, so you're good. All right. Council members, cast your vote.
Canali, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes.
Get in the queue, Logan.
Swearingen, Washington, yes. Walker, yes. White, yes. Chairman Smiley, yes. Please show Councilmember Cooper Sutton is voting yes on this item.
All right, this item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call number 38?
Mr. Chairman, item number 38 is a resolution to accept and appropriate an allocation of grant funds in the amount of $100,000 from Living Cities for the establishment of the Breaking Barriers to Business B3 initiative. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by the administration, and there is a request for same-night minutes.
All right, Councilman Canali.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee met, recommend approval, and I so move.
All right, moved by Canali, second by Swearingen, Washington. We have Councilwoman Logan in the queue.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a financial interest in this matter and would like to recuse myself from all discussion and voting on this matter. Thank you.
All right, you're recused.
Thank you.
You fine. Madam Comptroller, appears all hearts and minds are clear. Please spread the screen. And then hit that.
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, recused. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. White, yes. And Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you call the fiscal consent agenda? Please.
Number 14. Number 14. On our fiscal consent agenda, we have one item, it's number 14. It's a resolution to accept and appropriate funds from the state of Tennessee in the amount of $1,600 for in-service training. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by Police Services, and there is a request for same-night minutes.
All right, Councilman Spinoza, you recognize. You're recognized. Committee met, recommended approval. Moved by Councilman Spinoza, seconded by Councilwoman Green. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen?
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. White, yes. And Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call the MLGW fiscal consent agenda?
Item number 15 on our MLGW fiscal consent is a resolution approving a lease agreement with Apesex 6400 Shelby LP for approximately 15,000 square feet of warehouse space located at 6400 Shelby View Drive in the total funded amount of $374,592, and there is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 16 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12302, Substation Engineering Services Protection with Fisher and Arnold Incorporated, to renew the current contract in the funded not-to-exceed amount of $850,000. Item number 17 is a resolution approving change number 6 to contract number 12183, Synergy Gas Modeling Software Renewal with DNVGL Noble Denton USA LLC, to ratify and renew the current contract in the funded amount of $39,449.09. Item number 18 is a resolution awarding contract number 12540, Master Asphalt Paving Program, Section 2, to Buchan LLC in the funded amount of $6,860,922.33, and there is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 19 is a resolution awarding contract number 12512, Master Asphalt Paving Program, Section 1 and 3, to Lehman Roberts Company in the funded amount of $9,412,639. There's also a request for same-night minutes for this item. Item number 20 is a resolution awarding a 60-month purchase order to Tate Computer Systems, Inc. for desktop and laptop equipment in the amount of $2,501,460.50. Item number 21 is a resolution approving change number 10 to contract number 10927, Perpetual Licensing Agreement with Precisely Software Incorporated, previously Pitney Bowes Software Incorporated, to increase the contract value in the funded amount of $189,187.20. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our MLGW fiscal consent items.
Moved by Councilman Espinoza. My mic wasn't on. Seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen?
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. White, yes.
I'm sorry, I've been.
It's okay. Would you like to be shown as voting yes on this item?
Important information.
Would you like to be shown as voting yes on this item, sir?
Oh, yes, I'm definitely voting yes.
Please show a Councilman Smiley is voting yes.
Thank you. This item passes. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 22, I believe. And if it's wrong,
that would take us to
fault.
Appointments on our regular agenda. To the Memphis and Shelby County Groundwater Quality Control Board, we have two appointments, Heather Holtz and Jason Simpson.
Councilwoman Dr. Easter Thomas, you're recognized.
Chair, the committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Easter Thomas, seconded by Swearingen Washington. We have one comment card on this item. Ms. Aquifer. Ms. Sarah Houston, you're recognized.
Hey, I'll take Ms. Aquifer, that's fine. Hey, everybody, Sarah Houston, 200 Wagner Place. Again, I serve as the Executive Director of Protect Our Aquifer. I'm excited to see that there are two new appointments to the Groundwater Board. So I just wanted to spend this time to give y'all a little education about that board. This is something that y'all do obviously have a little bit of power with. I don't know these two individuals, so I can't really speak to their experience, but I would like to make note that the mayor of the Memphis, they have two appointments for this board, a citizen and an engineer. The county mayor gets 2 appointments, a well driller and a citizen. And then each municipality that runs a water system, a water utility here in Shelby County gets a seat. So that means MLGW has a seat, Collierville, Germantown, Arlington, Millington, and Bartlett. So it's a relatively democratic board. And y'all may or may not know, it's kind of a sleepy board. It hasn't really been doing much the past 35 years. It's mostly been seen as appeals board. But we at Protect Our Aquifer are trying to change that. This board actually has a lot of power. And I want everyone to realize that Shelby County is the only county in the whole state that has well permitting authority. So we have to get permission to drill wells in this community, and that's because we have a legacy of contamination. The more water that we pump, the faster we are pulling down contamination that was buried or dumped decades ago. And we're seeing municipal wells being impacted by pollution today. In Collierville, there's actually been a whole water treatment plant and all of their wells shut down due to contamination. They've had a multi-million-dollar impact on their water system. MLGW has actually had a couple wells shut down due to contamination back in the 80s and 90s. And we know there's more coming our way. So the Groundwater Board has a really big opportunity to think about more proactive planning. How can we use the $5 million that City of Memphis ratepayers are paying MLGW to understand our aquifer? How can we use that information to strengthen the science and strengthen the planning process around this board? So as we make more movement with this board, I definitely wanted to come back and give y'all some education on what's going on. So thank you, and we hope to learn more from these 2 new representatives. Thank you.
Thank you for the excellent presentation, Ms. Houston. All right, any other council members? All right, appears that all hearts and minds are clear. Madam Comptroller, you know what to do.
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. White, yes. And Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 23?
Item number 23 is an ordinance to amend Ordinance 5910 to rename the Lincoln Park Pavilion in honor of Hazel Moore as the Hazel Moore Pavilion in the city of Memphis. Up for 3rd and final reading, ordinance number 5917 is sponsored by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Councilwoman Swearingen Washington.
Thank you, Chair. The committee met. There was a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
I know you do. Moved by Swearingen Washington, seconded by Councilwoman Green. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen for a vote? Thank you.
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. And Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Item number 24 was held or is held until December 17th. That brings us to item number 27. Could you call item number 27?
Item number 27 is a resolution to prioritize fleet service repairs for Memphis Police and Fire Department vehicles. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by council members Green and Spinoza.
So 20. Councilwoman White, you recognize.
Thank you, Chairman. The committee met and recommended approval, and I so move.
Moved by Councilwoman White, seconded by Councilman Spinoza. It appears that all hearts and minds are clear. Madam Comptroller, prepare the screen.
Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, could you please call item number 29?
Item number 29 is an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Memphis pertaining to contracts and salaries of the Memphis Light, Gas, and Water Division to decrease the limits of contracts and salaries or compensation for employees or others requiring City Council approval. Ordinance number 5897 was sponsored by Chairman Smiley, Councilwomen Green, Logan, Swearingen, Washington, and Walker. And now the action requested is to review this ordinance in this second meeting of October.
All right, Councilman Canali, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee met, recommended approval, and I so move. I think you have an amendment.
Absolutely. Moved by Canali, seconded by Spinoza. Here's the amendment. We're going to eliminate the sunset provision and continue as is. Anybody object to that amendment to the sunset provision? All right, no objections. Madam Comptroller, can we call item number 20? Attorney Wade.
He has an objection.
He has an objection. Okay. Oh, your mic. My bad.
No objection to this. I just want to make it clear what we are amending. The last clause in section 5, which reads, "and shall continue in full force and effect for 6 months and be reviewed by the council on the second meeting in October 2024 during the regular agenda," is being deleted from the ordinance, and you are adopting it as amended.
Yeah, I heard all those things that the excellent counsel for the council for over 30 years said. All right, Madam Comptroller, can you prepare the screen?
Canali, no. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Logan, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. And Chairman Smiley, yes.
All right, this item passes. No thanks to Councilman Canali. He pulled a Chairman Jones in his, since he's gone. I think this brings to the end of the agenda. Councilman Cooper Sutton, Councilwoman Cooper Sutton. Well, sorry, you have to say that again because your mic is not on. Try it again.
Okay. I motion to add my resolution and same night minutes.
Any objection to adding? Second it. All right, second. Moved by Councilwoman Cooper Sutton, seconded by Councilman Spinoza. And what number is your item? I can't remember. Special item. What number is that? And that's the ad hoc committee. Is that what she's, is that the same 9 minutes to the ad hoc committee? Yes. I don't think we need to vote on it since there was no objection. All right, council members. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen?
You got to read the caption here. Would you like to read this?
I can read it into the record, or do you have to read it into the record?
Here's a caption for item number 39, which will be added to our agenda tonight. It's a resolution to create a Parks and Environment Ad Hoc Committee to provide recommendations to the Parks Division for implementation of best practices regarding the city's management leases and management agreements.
Vice Chairman Canali, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee met recommended approval, and I so move.
Moved by Vice Chairman Canali, seconded by Councilman Spinoza, Cooper Sutton. All right, appears all hearts and minds are clear. Madam Comptroller, could you please prepare the screen? This brings us to the end.
There is a request for same night minutes for this item. Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. White, yes. And Chairman Smiley, yes.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller.
You're welcome, Mr. Chairman.
This item passes. Vice Chairman Canali.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clear things up, we may have gotten a little off the track there for a second. Item 24 is held till December 17th. 25, 26, and 28 are withdrawn. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Mr. Chairman,
we didn't do number
it's held till November 12th.
Yes.
Same night minute items are 4.
He got it.
4, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Excellent job, Vice Chairman. Sounds like you should be chair soon. Seconded by, moved by Councilman Canali, seconded by seconded by Councilwoman Creed. Madam Comptroller, prepare the screen, please.
Hello? Canali, yes. Cooper Sutton, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Green, yes. Spinoza, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. White, yes. Chairman Smiley, yes.
This item passes. This brings us to our comment cards. 2 minutes on the clock for each person. Alice Hart. Ms. Hart? Yes, sir. Come on down. Name, address for the record, and talk to us.
Hello, my name is Alice Hart. My address is 1919 DuPont, Memphis, Tennessee, 38167. But today I'm coming on behalf of my nonprofit, Know Thy Worth. It is in District 5, address 3146 Pacific Avenue, 38112. And my issue is just saying to everybody, especially my council person, don't forget about the small people. Like, my area is, I call it the track for a reason because I'm 33 and it's still the same. Drugs, crime, prostitution. So if I'm 33 and nothing has been done in my area, that's a problem. No parks for the kids, no basketball courts. They either have to go to Leicester or Gassman. And if you stay on Summer and Pope, that's far to walk either way. But my issue is I want to advocate for the kids that look like me, that come from where I come from, and just to give them a chance. So my nonprofit, I just took a group of inner city kids on a college tour. Most of them is their first time going to college. And my goal is just to invest in the youth so the next generation won't suffer like I did, because I am a graduate of the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, but coming from Treadwell or the inner city, it was very extremely hard. So I'm just saying, I want the council group to advocate for people who look like me talk like me and from where I'm from. That's all.
Thank you for that. So do you live in Fraser?
I live in Fraser. My dad just passed, so I took over his home. But my family is, my mom and dad work for the city. My sisters and myself work for the city as officers. I'm now a teacher, and I have a nonprofit. So we are a community-oriented family.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out, you said you're a council person. I was trying to figure out.
Well, for my nonprofit, but for my home, it's somebody else. But my issue, I came today because of my nonprofit. Is that a problem?
No, I'm trying to, make it make sense. I'm with you now. We on the same page. Gotcha.
Okay.
So Councilman Spinoza, Councilman Easter Thomas, Councilman Spinoza.
Yeah, real quick, what was your name again?
Alice Hart.
Alice, thanks for coming down, seriously. And so I'd love to catch up with you after the meeting, and Ashley and I will get with you, because I'm right down the street from some of those streets that you mentioned. So I'd love to catch up with you.
Thank you.
He mean it. He likes to talk. Yeah. Councilwoman Easter Thomas.
Thank you. You didn't come down here for that, but just wanted to encourage you so you say, don't forget about the small people, folks who are out here doing the work, right? Invite us. Let us see what's going on. Send us a newsletter, send us a tap in, send us a photo, give us an opportunity to come see you. Just say, hey, I did this week, and so that we can keep you in mind. Right? So we can always have an opportunity for when stuff comes up, invite you to the grant program, bring you in for different things. So you help us keep up with you too.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
That's my ask to you.
Yes, ma'am.
But thank you for coming down here today.
No problem.
Excellent comments, Doctor. Thank you, Ms. Hart.
Thank you.
Aaron Aaron. I think it's Aaron or Litzy.
Reverend.
Reverend. You snatched it hard. Real hard. You recognize. Name and address for the record.
Thank you. Aaron Litzy, 5344 Longwood Drive, Memphis, Tennessee, 38134. Live in the Raleigh-Bartlett Meadows subdivision. But ironically, I had such a good time at the committee meeting sharing about our Urban Promise 901. I decided I would come back and bring the brochures that I left. And so that's why I came tonight, to make sure that all of our council people had an opportunity. We do serve kids who are in 38128, 38127, 38115, 38117, 38114, 38118, 38116, 38125. So if I called any of your areas, then certainly we're in those areas, either mentoring kids or we're allowing students from those areas to volunteer, plus a few other zip codes I probably didn't just call. We've grown tremendously since the pandemic is when we started, and we have a opportunity for kids to grow into career professions through job shadowing. One of the greatest issues that I had as a teacher was going to children's funerals. And in order to transform that, children need a plan of action by the time that they finish. So we have a program that is through 22, another program for girls called Her Image, and this program that I'll share this brochure with you for, which is the Urban Fatherhood Initiative, getting more fathers involved. We have an event that's coming up that I'll be sending all of you an email for, that we'd love for you to come out and to watch the wonderful performances of our children who are extremely gifted and talented. Thank you.
What I will note is, you actually heard me during the committee meeting when I said constant communication, constant contact. You pulled up multiple times. I appreciate that as well. It helps the council to understand who we're supporting and the folks who are willing to do what it takes. So thank you so much. All right, Mr. Joe B. Kent. Name and address for the record.
Joe Kent, 5111 Flamingo. After the massive lead reset, McGowan-led reset, the massive increase in Way Forward, which is a capital upgrade program for 24-28, costs should be coming down for 25 through 29. Another spike for 25-29 reveals illogical budgeting practices, explosive spending, no budget discipline, and should not be happening. For example, a new engineering ops center came out of nowhere and should be rejected along with the 25 capital budget. Next, TransPro report provides a verdict that the previous council did not care to practice public financial oversight for 5 years. I'm sure some will want to run me out of town for this observation. The city is really good at running people out of town. Next, questions for TransPro. Is TransPro Pro concerned that MATA refuses to answer public information requests? If they and you are not, the MATA active conspiratorial cover-up continues. Will TransPro release the financial audit of contract for MP3? If not, the cover-up continues. TransPro admitted that MATA wasted money on consulting with them. Will we get an exhaustive listing of all the consulting contracts, partners, and what they did and did not deliver? If not, the cover-up continues. I know that the $5 million that you approved for the BRT was a waste of money in the Transportation Committee chaired by, that was a waste of money, and now you know it's a waste too. Also, do any of y'all have an approach other than McGowan's presentation of what MLGW should be spending, just an idea on capital improvement? If you don't have an approach, we're lost. If you don't have an approach, we're lost.
All right, thank you so much for your presentation. Tawana going once. Tawana going twice. All right, so.
Motion to adjourn.
Reverend Dr. Councilman Ford, I entertain a motion.